This episode of the Rhythm Pyro podcast is part of our monthly Show Roundtable series, where we engage in real talk with real pyros about anything and everything. Our guests range from Patreon supporters, pyro hobbyists, show designers, and industry personnel. The Show Roundtable episodes are uncut, unedited, and uncensored. Listener and parental discretion is advised. Though I do not do that test 1, 2 nonsense.
Try to deep throat the
Testies 1. Bo's balls 2.
Okay, what did we miss?
A lot. Nothing we're going to talk about recording.
Why?
Because
we're done,
on, man.
We can talk about what was wrong with the headphones.
Yeah, tell us what was wrong with the headphones.
We don't know. They just started to work.
100%.
Yeah, deadly serious. They just started to work. I don't know, man. Those Bluetooth headphones are weird. You said you had 3 different selections to choose from in the output for the Bluetooth headphones, which I think is really odd.
Yeah, it gave me a default.
Hey, Bo, before we go too far, since this is a shit show, I'm sitting in the squeaky chair. Is that okay? Or should I get out of it now?
I'm not going to edit this at all. And I can't, to be quite honest, I can't hear this stuff anyway. So like this is the shit show episode is really good for me because it's going to pull the cloth off of everything that's wrong with this podcast. And you guys are going to get to hear
how bad it really is.
I'm talking about you and Jamie. You and Jamie will listen to this and go, "Oh my God, that's what it really sounds like." He's right.
I really snorted
awful.
That many times.
Yeah. Man, I really
Meanwhile,
do
Bo acts like he's
loud.
perfect.
Yeah, right. Like he does nothing, but he never tells us what he edits out of himself.
Yeah,
he never tells us that. You guys always do this shit, but never do we get to hear it to know what he does.
I see you and Jamie have been talking.
I already know it. I'm not stupid. I'm like, he always yells at us, but you always say too, I got my own quirks. Yeah, well, I'm sure you do.
I'd love to know what they are.
Tell me more.
I'd love to know what they are. I say a lot. I don't like that. But as far as mic etiquette goes, I'm pretty good.
Etiquette.
I know it's a big word for
Here,
you.
I'll ask my question now since we're recording and I can ask
Oh
it.
my God.
Since I had to wait and we have other people.
Forgot.
Ask it.
So if you have blue in the high zone, purple in the mid zone, what would you put underneath it for color wise?
Blue.
Yellow.
I don't know. That's
Doesn't even
kind
matter.
of an
You can't
analogous.
see color anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But other people that can't see color, that's who I'm asking.
Oh,
Douche nugget.
I thought you were asking for knowledge.
I am, but I'm asking the non-colorblind people an opinion.
I sent you the color wheel.
I'll just do yellow. I know, but I don't know how to use the color wheel to go, hey, blue, purple.
You can use it in any form.
I mean, yeah, there's
I haven't taken the
blue,
Yoda
purple,
class.
I would say
green.
that there's different
I haven't
ways.
got the wheel class.
There's different ways to use it. And
You
to
could
be
do
quite
blue,
honest,
purple,
like
green. You could do blue, purple, yellow.
I wouldn't use green. I mean, you could use it because like it's blue and
Depends
purple.
what you're trying to do.
Blue and purple are an analogous
Orange
color
would be good
harmony.
too.
So because they're really close to each other on the color wheel, I mean, you could theoretically use magenta if you have it. But what I would do is like, if I was going to use it, I would try to flow from one color to another. So, blue is right next to purple and then magenta is on top of that. So if you wanted to kind of flow through it backwards, you could use magenta in the low.
Or lemon.
You could use monochrome color schemes too. And you could throw like silver in there or strobing too, which is why like all those 3-layer mines that you see that manufacturers are making, that's kind of what they're leaning on is like an analogous monochrome color scheme.
You know what? Here, I should have added this then. So above is blue with a shimmer of gold, but it's it's only on a tail.
Yeah.
And then the midsection is a purple peony with a gold strobe. And it's kind of more looks like that gold lace strobe where it kind of like, it doesn't burn out quickly, though, but it looks like lace.
Almost.
Yeah, exactly.
The brocade mines.
So can you use gold underneath that?
Yeah,
gold
I would use
strobing
it. Okay,
underneath
well, yeah, you omitted that information. If you would have said that initially, I would have said use gold strobe.
To me, I just saw purple and blue. That's all I saw in my head. I'm like, oh, they both have gold. I didn't know you put gold. Okay,
so you can see the difference between purple and blue.
I just noticed that because when I, made
Somebody
the effects,
told me.
it said it's purple. And
told me.
The other one says blue. So I'm guessing it says blue and
I wouldn't worry about it. A color's a color.
What about pink?
One year I'm going to do an all red and green show.
Pink would be
just all
similar
red
to
and green.
magenta. I mean, it wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. Magenta is going to stand out, though. Oh, my God, that went down the wrong tube.
That's what she said.
Magenta will stand out like especially on a field where you have blue. Because pyro blues, unless it's like some of that new raccoon stuff, pyro blues are so underwhelming. They're so underwhelming.
They're almost
and they
white.
burn forever. So they're like any of those. I don't know if they actually use perchlorate chemical compositions in them, but the perchlorate based stuff, like that super bright burning, quick burning colors, like those are going to come and go really quick. So whenever you have blue in the same palette or in the same site picture as the other colors, it almost instantly becomes swallowed up as just kind of noise. You'll notice it, but you're not going to notice it as much as the other colors, unless it's bright and quick burning. But the gold bit you could definitely use, I would think.
Blue always seems so dull.
Exactly. Yeah. The blue stuff is super.
You burn
dull,
any other color, but blue just always seems to burn so dull, and it's, I don't know, just hard to pick up versus all the other colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Raccoons and Pyrolands blue are phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. Like any of the blue stuff, it's difficult. Like blue, believe it or not, like, hot pink is not my favorite color. I like it a lot, but blue has always been my favorite color. It's just been so underwhelming rather in fireworks for so long that to use blue effectively in just like standard consumer products and, traditional Proline products, you almost have to feature it. You can feature it next to like white stuff or even gold stuff, but I try to keep all of the other colors to a bare minimum and then just use blue because it's the only way that it's going to, draw attention to itself.
See, then to me, I'm thinking like red, white, and blue are just basic colors. Like I want to put something else up there. I want purples and greens and
yeah.
Just thinking that, just a basic color, but it's like, oh, I've seen those before. Oh,
America.
But even on the red, white, and blue, your whites are bright, your blues or your reds are bright, white's bright, blue, it just
is blah.
It doesn't stand out.
No,
red, white, and blah.
I wish I could show a video. Depends what
what
blue shells you're getting too, though. Like John was at the RCAM demo. Remember those 5-inch blue shells that when they went off, you're like, "Hey, yeah!"
Well, those
that's
stars
like an 8-inch.
those stars are like, it's like that. Those are stars that would fill your entire bowl. Imagine eating a Cocoa Puff that's the size of your fist. That's the size of the star that's burning in those shells.
So when those came out, I was like, hey, I know that's blue. Wow.
Yeah.
Look to the left. Look to the right. It's still there.
Oh, God. All right. Well, this is not much of a banter topic. This was actually this seemed pretty educational for this episode.
Yeah,
right. Dude, so we'll just go straight into it.
What the hell is that?
What is it?
That sounds new.
What is it?
Oh my God.
What is it? What is it? Baby, it's a Roundtable. Episode 1!
lake?
No, it's not the lake. That's absolutely not. No, it's a because it's the Shit Show Roundtable and it's it's a bonus episode. So like, it's got to be different. It can't be the same thing. So instead of doing stuff that I should be doing, like working on the lake, I spent an hour and a half doing that.
And see, and that's how long that took you, an hour and a half. And that for the rest of us would have been like 3 months.
Welcome to the Rhythm Pyro Podcast and the inaugural voyage of the Shit Show Roundtable bonus episode. I'm Bo. That's AJ.
Hola.
That's Jamie.
Yep.
That is Jason Marshall from Marshall Law Pyrotechnics.
How we doing?
And that's John Mikrut from
is Jason delayed like Ellery was?
I don't know, maybe. Jason, what caliber of internet do you have?
Oh, how the hell do I know that, man? Come on.
How about this? As soon as I'm done talking, say something. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Something.
Oh, holy shit, there's a delay.
Yeah, we'll make it work. We made Ellery work. We'll make this work.
Oh, this is way better than Ellery.
Oh, this is going to be way better, and it'll be way weirder too, because Ellery, like, there was such a delay on Ellery's episode, like 5 whole seconds, that I feel like if I put that on our audio editing resume, I'd get a lot of work. Like, wow, we would have never thought that when you guys were done talking that it took 5 seconds for him to respond.
It was like talking to outer space.
Yeah, it was like you stop talking, you're like, all right, now wait, he's gonna answer you, so stop.
Ground control.
Yeah. We're calling from the dark side of the moon.
I gotta start speaking 3 seconds in advance.
There you go.
Just ensure you read our minds.
Exactly.
So you can answer
just cut everybody off.
That's
I feel like I'm talking to my wife. I have to wait 5 seconds for her to actually answer me.
So the shit show bonus episode, first time around, like the preempt said, and I know you guys didn't hear the preempt, but everybody else will. This episode is completely unedited, completely uncensored. It's a monthly bonus episode. So hide your kids, hide your wives. We're sorry in advance.
It's going down for real.
Yeah, it's going down for real.
AJ's feelings do not matter in this episode.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
You know what it means.
If Battered Pyros Anonymous was here, they would say AJ's feelings never matter, apparently. Bo's so darn mean to him all the time.
It's provocative.
It's provocative, yeah.
I like provocative.
Just remember, AJ, it's all for the likes, buddy.
It's not about you, bro.
Yeah. No, the internet likes.
That's what I mean. Someone still has to like you on the internet. So,
well, he's very mean to that guy.
I don't like you. You're my best friend.
See,
guys. So what's going on, John and Jason? I don't know which one of you guys wants to go first, but I mean, do either one of you guys
like? Jason,
do we want to do
5 seconds later?
Do we want to do
exactly
tradition? Do we?
This is what's going to be the highlight of the show.
Yeah, exactly. Do we want to do traditional introductions here? I mean, I guess.
God, is that you?
I don't care.
Let's do that. John, why don't you go first?
No, you go first.
Hi, my name is John.
Hi, John.
Hi, John. I have an addiction.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's about it for me.
I like to listen to this podcast when I'm in the car by myself because I can't listen to it when my wife's around. You can tell your wife and take this podcast. I'm going to shove it right in her ear.
First time recording, long time listener.
Oh my God, this is perfect. You got to use John. Send him a picture of your wife so he can do an AI thing of her. Like yelling about the podcast, like the shit show episode. This fucking sucks. Hilarious.
We ain't listening to this all the way to Texas.
honey, you don't understand. There's 4.5 more hours of this. John, are you getting ready for? Obviously, you're doing Sky Wars later this year.
Yes.
But I mean,
Maybe.
maybe. If we can get the simulations down. Get accurate simulations. You might do Sky Wars.
What the hell is this?
What the hell is that?
Let's go rescript the show.
This is so the shit show episode is definitely not your episode. We're gonna have a complete episode where we're gonna feature you and hopefully the other designers too. But I mean, tell me about it, man. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm stoked.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Nervous?
There's not a person that goes there, so you're not nervous.
So, I guess I'll tell it. I have a dream about every other night that I am at Sky Wars and everybody finally shows up Friday and I'm like, what the fuck? We have nothing done. We're just getting started. It is Friday night.
And it's raining.
I start running around the field looking for anything, and yeah, I have that dream quite often.
Oh man, I couldn't sure you said Friday.
I'll probably be there Friday.
Yeah, it was pretty well timed though.
And now Jason's going to laugh.
You're welcome.
I was still commenting on 3 situations ago.
What you should have done is you said, John, you're doing Sky Wars this year, and then ask Jason a question at the same time. By the time John's done talking, Jason to answer.
Yeah, we're on to something.
Oh God. So I mean, how long have you been? We'll start with the really basic stuff. John, how long have you been doing fireworks?
This is my 19th year.
Let's just start
last week.
When they were asking for Sky Wars shooters, I sent a dissertation and I said, "Man, this looks like a lot of fun. I'd love to give it a shot." I'd love to give it a shot.
There's all sweaty, dirty people out in the field. I want to be just like that.
I'm like that.
Can't wait to not take a shower for a whole week.
You don't do that now?
God, dude, 19 years?
Yeah, 19 years.
Jiminy Christmas. Has it always been?
I am.
And it's always been 1-3. Like we've always been 1-3. I didn't even know what a 500 gram cake really was until about 4 years ago.
You're like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So I've obviously known what they are, but we've never shot one. Like every cake that we put on our show is 1-3 cakes.
He was the guy that went down to the guy at the end of the block and was like, "Hey man, what you got?"
No, he was the guy.
And that guy got arrested and he's like, "I got to go do this legit."
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like the guy that was buying the 500 gram stuff was like, "Hey, you just go talk to John. He's got you."
Yeah.
No, I was saying John went to somebody, not John.
No, John would have been the guy because he only did 1-3. Get it?
Yeah, but I'm saying he only bought it from the get-go. Like the guy, he went to go get 500 and he was like, no, you want these. And then John shot one of those and he's like, that's what I want.
But he said he saw a 500 gram cake for the first time 3 years ago. You got to listen. You got to use your active listening skills.
AJ, prove him wrong. Draw him a picture.
Yeah.
With color.
With color.
I only got black and white, sorry.
Purple.
Dude,
and blue.
I can't imagine what that's like. I mean, I came from the consumer fireworks world. You know, my dad's been in this for a billion years and it's always been on the consumer side, doing backyard shows and stuff. So how did you completely skip that?
Like, you mean right into 1-3?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know, 19 years ago, I had a buddy, one of my good friends called me up and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I
had a dream.
Yeah,
you gotta check this out, man.
Let's have a fireworks show." So I was like, "Okay," so he first time, I was near it, he brought me over and, he's like, "Okay," showed the safety aspects of it and he's like, "Drop it in and light it." And as soon as that 3-inch came out of the tube, I'm like,
The thump junkie was ignited.
Yep. So as soon as that went off, I said, all right, can I get into Walnut Show? And the next year, that's when I started helping.
Wow. Yeah, that's
so even before then, when you were a kid, you never lit off any fireworks?
I was not really. So my brothers and all them kind of ruined that for me because we lived in Chicago.
They shot bottle rockets at all the time.
They they break the sticks off, and
I know where this is going.
This is slowly becoming a tutorial.
They said,
"Don't do it." This is when you put that little warning in right here.
My brother
here is not available for.
Right. My brother and his buddy they'd go down to one end of the alley, and they would put bottle rockets in the center of the alley and they'd light them and, they'd just keep on how close they can get to hitting each other. And the whole time, even at 7 years old, I'm like, you guys are dumb. but
I don't know much, but I know that this is wrong.
So, or the one time my mom's boyfriend at the time, we went over to their house for 4th of July.
Those are always winners, yeah.
Quarter stick inside of a 16-inch tube with a 16-inch softball and launch it across the block. They had one down a couple hundred yards away catching it, and then they just relay it back in.
Whoa.
As soon as they got it, drop another quarter stick in, throw the softball in there. Thump.
So you got pretty good eye-hand coordination then.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. You a sports fan?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's your favorite sport?
I'd have to say hockey.
Really? Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. He likes
to play with sticks.
Are you a Michigan guy? It's like you're going to get along with Dana really well.
Okay.
He's Canadian. I don't know if you know that.
Oh yeah,
he's in the Discord. His name is Canada.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to say, hockey.
That's fun, man.
Followed it a long time and shit. I mean, when we got married, we had a Blackhawks themed wedding.
Was that difficult to talk her into, or was she a Blackhawks fan too?
No, I didn't have to talk her into it. She just started following it along with me.
Perfect.
So we went to a few games and she would kind of embarrass me once in a a while.
John, that sounds like a great way.
Thing. That's what happened. You should have got her into fireworks and then did a fireworks wedding.
No, she did it right, because it doesn't matter the subject, so long as he was able to take her fairy tale wedding and make it his fairy tale wedding. Now she can hold everything for the rest of his life over his head.
It was always great when we
Remember
went to
that time that we did what you wanted to do? Now it's my turn. We're not listening to this shit anywhere, no matter how long the trip is.
Oh my God.
Oh, she loves it. She knows it.
She loves it. She just doesn't know it yet. Yeah, right. Jason, what about you, man? How long have you been doing fireworks?
Wait for it. And go. For me,
go where?
And nothing.
And okay, now I'm good. For me, fireworks. Well, I work with explosives as career-wise. So
yeah.
Birthday on the 4th of July. Spent my whole childhood.
Your birthday's on the 4th of July?
Yep.
Nice.
That's awesome, dude.
Man, everybody celebrates your birthday.
Well, I got a quick question for you then real quick. The neighbor that I used to live, I lived above them. His birthday was on the 4th of July. He was an older guy. And he said that as a kid, his parents used to tell him all the fireworks for him until he got older and he figured it out. Did they do that to you too?
Thank God I'm not the only one that was told to.
And I'm sort of a big deal.
Yeah, about the time I was 7, 8 years old, I realized that they were full of shit.
This is for America.
Apparently, we won our freedom back in 1776, and that's a big deal. That's why they do this.
Well, the bad part is,
He's like, oh, no,
pompous American assholes.
Yeah, the bad part is I used to go to like the town shows and stuff like that. And when I was real little, I thought that, man, all these people are showing up for this fireworks show for my birthday. Nobody ever told me any different. Just let me believe that.
Hi, Jason Marshall. Nice to meet you. It's my birthday.
Kind of a big deal.
Hi, Jason Marshall. It's my birthday. These are for me. Yeah.
That's for me.
Right. You can leave if you
all these
like.
people here,
There's
they're for me.
we got about 7 or 8 set up plastic tables over there. You can just drop the gifts off right over there.
Actually, can you like
Pretty much.
legally get your birthday changed to July 4th? Is that possible? Because that makes sense for you.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, it would.
No, it
His
wouldn't.
show's not on July
Your
4th,
ego
so it
would
would
be,
make
like,
it would make
so
sense
crazy.
if he
Since he's
changed
an
it to the
icon,
day
it
in which
should be
the show
automatic.
goes up.
Whoa, that was the biggest robot voice ever. What was that?
When's the Mexican Independence Day?
Dude, so like with you being in explosives, because I remember this when you and I met at CobraCon a number of years ago. You were like, "Yeah, I'm in professional explosives, and I do that for a living." What's that like?
It's definitely very different.
Yeah.
It's
How do you get into that?
I got
Are you
into it by blind
fracking? Are you
luck.
like
Talking
mining?
about demo?
I mean, I've done everything from bridge demolition to ground construction to tunnel explosives. I'm not biased. Whatever they let me blow up.
We need to make my shirt. You need it gone. I'll blow it up.
You need it gone. I'm your guy.
You tell me, I'll blow it.
Pretty much, I'm that guy. Everybody
You
sits
show
around
me
and
up.
goes,
Yeah.
just don't. I'm not the guy everybody wants to piss off.
I mean, I'm not even going to ask you what your favorite part is because I know, but I guess what's your favorite second part?
I mean, there is a second part to it.
No, I said not his favorite part because it's like, duh.
Well, his first favorite part's cuh.
What? Oh my God. Oh my God. the cub before the boom.
Oh, shit. Oh, good. That was good, Jamie. Holy shit.
I'm here all night.
Good Lord.
When you're prepping for professional demolition of like a building or something, how much forethought goes into that before you execute the cuh or the boom?
A lot of it comes down to the size of what you're doing. It's going to alter based on if you're doing a bridge versus a building. I haven't done any buildings, unfortunately. That really bums me out. But most of those are explosive engineers.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different when you go from buildings to ground and smaller construction items.
Yeah. What do you tend to do the most of?
Head check.
What does that mean? Head check. Like, do you have your head? Hand check, I understand, but a head check, I'm like, you'd be dead before you have the ability to check.
In the area.
Wouldn't it be more like body check? Oh wait, my head's no longer attached to my body.
Totally
That's what my eyes are viewing
where he was
reality.
going at with that. I mean, every time he said that, I done stuck my hand down my pants, and I'm like, yeah, it's still there.
Sigh of relief. Thank God. It's
Yeah,
He does it after
totally
the
missed what
too.
this show's about.
exactly.
Oh my God.
It's a mess. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, so what did you do? Did you did you go to school for that? Did you see an ad in the paper? How does one get into professional demolition?
I missed that art class.
I never taught that in my art class.
No, for me, it was just the right place, right time. Was with the construction crew, and with that crew was just doing like regular construction work, and had a guy come up and ask me if I wanted to be involved with demolition side of things. And of course, I looked at him kind of out of the corner of my eye, like, okay, where's the joke in this? And he's like, no, I'm serious. And I was like, yeah.
Who says no? Who says no?
Yeah, right.
And,
Does anybody
he was like,
say
are
no
you
to this?
serious? And I'm like, yeah, I'm in. And he's like, I said, why? Why wouldn't I be? He said, nobody. Every time we ask somebody, they're like, no, I don't want any part of that. And I'm like, that's so un-American.
That's right.
Yeah,
that there is prime real estate, and we need it for the next guy. So out with the old, new with the new.
Yeah,
I'm looking for a job.
Right place, right time, and jumped over into it, and I just kind of took off. Been at 23 years now.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. On the electronics side, now that you know what it's like on the pyro side with demolition or not even demolition, but just, like discharge of fireworks. How does that differ from what you use in professional demolition?
Well, it's going away from the electronic detonators to more of what's called a shock tube, which is a hollow tube with basically like ignition powder blown through.
Okay.
And so, which gets put off by a 209 primer. So it's not, you still have timing, which every surface detonator is about 25 milliseconds on the surface. Mm-hmm. So you got to configure all that in, and then your downhole time. But it's a little bit different than going from, like a Cobra to, what we run in the field.
I mean, would you say that those are two totally different worlds? In the way that the ignition of, because like blasting caps and stuff, like what would you say the fundamental differences are? And if you could take a philosophical approach to it, why do you think they use for the lack of a better term, I'm going to say like a primitive approach to it, but why do you think they take that approach in demolition versus like an electronic approach to it?
It used to run under electronics for the longest time.
Really?
Because everything was run off of an ohm meter, and you had to base your ohms through the resistance. And it, like everybody's seen, it got kind of rough with, two-way radios, CBs, people driving by. That was always a big thing, early on. And it just became more controllable to use shock tubing versus electronic detonators.
So it's almost like it's a safety move from one to the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's crazy. Can you imagine calling your order ahead to your buddy that just pulled off the highway in his 18-wheeler to the Country Time Cafe, and then, oh man, look at that mountain just exploded.
It's definitely
hope I didn't have anything to do with that.
Day.
Yeah.
I have a buddy that does that. He does blasting in a rock quarry underground, but he still uses the deck cord. So that's the stuff you have to have an electric charge for, right?
No, you can shoot deck cord with the shock tubing as well. We've used some deck cord, what they call pre-split, which you see a lot of, like if you go through a mountain where it's, a mountain on both sides and you see that smooth rock on both sides. A lot of that was done using pre-split, which is detonated by deck cord to basically put a fracture crack through your rock, so that way you get a smooth separation without a lot of displacement.
Gotcha.
That's nuts, man. So they have there's actually a job that's detonation? Are they detonation engineers, or are they just like they engineers that know how to blow stuff apart safely or in an efficient manner?
Yeah. I mean, like your buildings, those are, pretty much classified as explosive engineers. And then like he was talking with, in the construction, they just call them blasters, which is about as redneck a term as you can get.
And he's about as redneck as you get too for an Illinois person.
That proves my point 100%.
Would you ever get a blow up a building, or is that advanced training? Because don't they like implode those? Like
to do buildings,
falls into
you're getting college.
It's fascinating.
Fascinating
when it goes down.
A lot of college involved in that because
so you can't tell us if 911 was a conspiracy or not. That's what you're saying.
I might have to plead the fifth on that one.
Now, I did see a TikTok video where these guys were bringing down like a barn silo or something, and they detonated the charges, and it started to fall one way, and then it fell the other way. It fell the other way on top of the house that was on the property. So
I've seen that same video.
Have you?
Somebody got fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, that is a phone call to a fire marshal and ATF I'm glad I'll never have to make.
Did you guys see the video of the I think it was on TikTok. Yeah. No, they blew up the building with fireworks beforehand. Had a huge countdown on the side of the building.
Oh, yeah. In Vegas, they did that with a casino.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool, man, because like the only thing that kept going through my head as they did this really elaborate fireworks show on the casino that they were getting ready to demolish was they had to have been paid for the gear that they lost in this incident, because there's no way.
Scab wire.
No, there's no way. There's no way. Some of the things that they did on this thing, it's like there's no way that they
wireless fireworks.
I don't know. Maybe they got that wireless slat thing down. But I was like, okay, well, you would have to write that into the cost of your proposal.
I think they did.
It's Las Vegas. It was probably pennies to them.
They use seahorse cases. They're good.
What was that? Did you guys hear that?
No.
Sounded like a train horn.
Yeah, it's like somebody outside my house. Oh my God, hold on. That better not be my buddy Rob.
I'm here to pick up that stuff that you promised me. That's cool, Jason. I dig that, man. So, like, what are you guys
doing? The coolest job ever.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That my real job pales in comparison to that.
Are you hiring
people that get to wake up in the morning and enjoy what they do?
Mm-hmm. You guys,
I don't know if I can say what I just saw
on the
sides. So, do you guys still use debt cord? Like, did you guys do anything fun with it? Like, draw stuff out before you like write your names out and draw a penis, whatever.
Shit up, dude.
draw penis.
Put the debt cord on the wall or something. See if you can blow a penis out shape.
Yeah, right. They draw. It
He's
looks like
that's a good idea. I'm going to try that now. Never thought about
Wait till I get to work tomorrow.
That's seen in Austin.
It
looks like a big
last night, guys.
Johnson. Get your Johnson. Yeah.
I've always watched videos of them, like they do like Christmas trees, or somebody, they'll put their name out on this huge stand, and when they light it, that cord goes so fast, it's instant, and it's pretty cool to see. That'd be something that I'd like to witness once.
A lot of that comes
Jason,
down to what
Jason,
grain.
you heard it here. John would like to see a big wiener. In
coming at Sky Wars in 2024.
Yeah. Dead cord.
Oh God.
Just hit one switch.
No shit.
Dead cord erotica.
That's all I need is one cue.
Just dead cords everybody's racks.
I win.
Dead corner, everybody's show goes up after yours.
Come on,
As soon as it happens, I'm going to throw my hands up in the air and put my hands in the air and say, don't everybody look at me.
Yeah.
A whole new meaning to fire all. That would be a finale, John. Your show goes up perfectly, and then every pyro on the goes up immediately afterwards.
Put moon craters.
Somebody's getting fired.
Oh God! If I go, I'm going down in style.
It's going down for real.
It's not traceable either because debt cord's just gone after that.
He said it's not traceable.
I can tell you it
Right?
What is that? So what's that made out of?
Dead cord?
Cord.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Explosives.
I like him.
Just a bit outside.
What time is the fireworks? Dark?
Dark nighttime.
I love that question.
Oh, what time is the fireworks? About 5 o'clock. That's always my response.
We're going to go here in about 10 minutes.
How many people do you see just standing out in the middle of the field, eagerly awaiting the fireworks at 5 o'clock?
None.
Exactly.
Surprisingly,
Afterwards,
a lot.
walk up to him and say, damn, y'all just missed it.
Yeah.
Just missed it.
What, for real?
With a
Smoke
straight
bomb.
face. With a straight face.
It was a great show. You should have seen it.
Yeah, we had to shoot 20 minutes early. Sorry.
It was so good, everybody stayed afterwards.
They're hanging out for next year. So what are you guys doing for 4th of July? John,
Blowing shit up.
are you?
Fireworks.
You got how many shows you guys got planned for the season?
I think there's like 9 or 10.
Really?
And
Which is it?
so
Hopefully it's
4th
not
of July
10, you think it's
weekend,
9.
we've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Ooh.
And we have 2 shows on Saturday. So we'll have two a crew in 2 different spots.
I just got
I
one
hope
this
so.
year.
You just got one this year? Yeah, me too.
Lucky. Oh. You got more than one, Bo.
That was
I
my
got
choice.
OPEG stuff, but I've yet
That's still a
to
show.
go to any OPEG stuff yet. The last 2 things I've had to, it's like I wake up that morning, I'm like, you know what? If I want to shoot the lake, then I can't go. I need to work on that.
Are you there?
I am.
Are you scripting?
I'm trying
Right
to.
now he is.
Yeah, literally right now. Last night, for the first time, I played. Now I know this episode's not going to air until next week, but today is what, the 11th. For the first time ever, I imported the song into Finale.
Oh, you got it done.
As it went through, I'm like just smacking on the I key on the keyboard. Like, yeah, okay, I'm feeling this. And about 5 minutes later, I'm like, all right, this is kind of like a good foundation. So that's it. We'll call it a night.
No, wait, what? What's it?
He was putting cues on the timeline.
You're a show.
I don't know what I
he's a
does.
show. He's a show shimp guy. Yeah, I drops
It is a
it drops a
shortcut
marker.
for dropping cues.
It drops a marker on the
Same difference.
timeline. So as it was going through, I'm like, okay, I think with this, and then like that's nowhere near where the key's going to be because it's almost always way off completely.
Oh, it's within 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, right.
0.5 of a second.
It's close enough for now, at least so much that I can go back sometime this coming week and go, hey, you know what? Oh, I think I know what I was feeling right there.
That was kind of like the feeling I had when I went to Chad's. Like, oh my God, I got that many single shots.
I need more cues.
So 9 and 10
I
shows.
literally didn't know I had half of them. I'm like, wow, I got comments and mines.
Don, are
Inventory.
those all hand fired shows?
No, all electronic.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Decord.
That's pretty involved.
Decord.
And a penis.
Yeah, we've
Penis fireball.
our Friday night show is usually hand fire because it's a small private show.
Yeah.
But we're doing
What's that mean?
Electronic. What's what mean?
What do you mean by private show?
It's just a family that.
Wow, that's enough. Stop.
Yeah.
We all get together. We bring a pineapple.
Yes.
He said yes.
Lots of
kidding,
alcohol is
but
involved
Jesus.
as well. After
No
the
alcohol.
fireworks.
After the fireworks, yes.
After the fireworks.
Oh my God.
That sounds busy, man.
Yeah, I enjoy it though.
Yeah.
Do you?
I do. I like it a lot.
Do you have to do any of those designs?
Penises?
No, not the dicks. The
scripting?
yeah.
Yeah. I scripted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think I scripted all the shows. Well, no, except for the opposite show that I won't be at Saturday night. I didn't script that one.
The opposite show. Well, that's a good job,
Yeah.
man.
What does that mean?
Way to pull your weight.
Well, Saturday night will be in 2 different places. I'll be at
You mean the other show?
yeah. Saturday night I'll be at the
I thought
bar
one was going to
shoot.
go up and the other was going to go down.
The inside out world.
This show shoots left. That show shoots right.
Right. It's a Stranger Things show. What about you, Jason? How many shows you got? Just the one?
Yeah, just the one this year. I almost ended up
Is it
with
the same
Every day at work.
pretty much. That's why
Is it the same one that's on that you built? You guys built the really cool platforms for on the water.
Yeah, that would be it. Yep, down on it's basically dubbed as Rockin' the River Show.
That's really cool, dude.
Nice.
I don't know.
Very, very stressful. We got about a 20-foot bank that drops over down into the river that we got to carry everything from platforms to product to, everything we utilize. You're dropping down over a 20-foot bank down into the water. And
jeez, dude.
most of my guys and, my wife, she's involved too. It's by the end of the day, everybody's spent. I mean, they're just wore out up and down that bank all day long, out in the water fighting, the current. It's just
how do you guys
becoming way more taxing on the body.
Yeah.
How old are you,
guys,
Jason? Oh, sorry.
46.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
I say getting the stuff down there would be easy. It's the cleanup that's going to suck.
Fuck that.
well,
Everything's hard
like
now.
all of that stuff sounds like a bear. I mean,
you know what it's like. You do it too.
Right. On a traditional site where, everything is on land. I mean, it's hard enough when you can walk from point A to point B to your launch position, from the truck to the launch position. But when there's umpteen more minutes per task to get things from the truck to the launch position, like that's crazy. What do you guys use? Do you guys use you guys got John boats or motor? You guys got platforms or something that gets you from point A to point B? How do you do it?
Basically,
Or do you make
we
them
just
swim them out there?
No, hold them up, snorkel gear, and stuff.
That's what Bo does. Bo just leaves you out in the middle of the lake.
What's
Stay
that?
there.
Oh, it's position 2. Well, I can't swim that far. Grab a pool
I'll be
noodle.
right back.
Grab a pool
Hold
noodle.
your
That's what
breath
they're
very long.
really for.
Getting bit by fish while we're waiting.
We built
You weren't getting bit.
we built a platform that was basically using 55-gallon barrels and 3 of them. So we got one basically sheet of plywood and then framed around that, and then used 55-gallon barrels to help keep it afloat. Load that up, push it out to wherever it's going to go to. Then they push it back about 40 trips later. Everything's out there. just back and forth until it's all out.
God, that's crazy.
There it is. Just make walking platforms with 55-gallon drums and plywood out
That's
to each
right.
shooting
What do you
position.
need?
Bro.
Exactly. What do you
What's
need?
the problem?
5 platforms when you can just build like an aircraft carrier in the middle of the lake.
Exactly.
Now you're thinking.
Exactly. Well, the first time I saw your setup, I'm like, holy cow, dude, that's a really cool. That's an interesting way to approach that kind of setup. How wide is that from end to end?
Almost 100 feet. It's just short of it from the sides.
Wow.
But we got basically, I've got it set up. It's a very tight area, so it limits what all I can do, which I've learned because I haven't really been doing it that long. So learning, went from just shooting as much fireworks, basically a bunch of sky puke, which everybody loved. But then I got into where it's like, okay, went from that. Then I wired everything by fuse because I can get fuse and time everything. That was easy for me based on what I do. So I could just time up everything with Visco. I didn't like the fact that as soon as you light that fuse, well, we all know what happens. If anything goes sideways, well, you can either stick your head in the furnace or just everybody dies.
Oh, yeah.
And,
right. Well, either that or the alternative is like if the past fire never happened, then that's it. Like the show just stops right there.
Yeah. So I did that for a year and I was like, man, this sucks. Plus tying all that fuse into, 120 some odd cakes. That was time consuming. I didn't care for that.
Yeah.
And then my brother told me, my brother started looking, he was like, well, you realize they have electronic firing systems, and I never looked into it. I was like, oh, really? So I started checking into it, and like most people here, stumbled across a Light Up the Lake video on YouTube. And that pretty well sold me after that. It was like, oh, hell yeah, okay, I got to get an electronic firing system.
Which one is it though? Because there's only like one that people get sold on. They're like, I got to buy an electronic firing system. No, the rest of them are like, whoa, this is dog shit.
Oh, this is terrible. I'm curious, which one did you find?
2017.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's the one that fell into the algorithms, man. That's the only one that ever got kind of distributed amongst all the pyros. Was 2017, which I'm cool with.
Once I found that one, then I started searching all the rest of them.
Mine was 19, then I found the rest of them.
You're an outlier.
I am.
You're a statistical oddity.
What's the link? I've never watched these before.
Wow. You must be 18 to enter.
Damn it, I'm out.
Jason, I gotta know. So when you're at work, your explosions are probably more smoke than anything, right? Dust, debris. So you can make your job interesting. Every time something goes off, shoot like a 30-gallon fireball, and you're like, "What the hell just happened?"
For us, I tell everybody the last thing. All the spectators want to see everything go 400 feet in the air. As a technician, that's the last thing I want to see. And I tell everybody, if you walk away disappointed, I walk away happy.
All you got to do is shoot a fireball at every shoot site. You're good. You'll both be happy.
Does anyone after a detonation ever walk up to you and go, I got to be honest with you, I'm pretty underwhelmed. I'm pretty disappointed. It was nothing it wasn't.
No, that happens, especially when we do
Die Hard.
like groundwork and stuff like that, where the ground just kind of humps up a little bit, doesn't really do much. Everybody's like, "Oh, really? That's it?" I'm like, "Perfect."
You're gonna live to see another day.
I waited 5 hours for this.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, you want to see something cool? You gotta watch a building.
Yeah, if you go on the Facebook page, there is actually the demolition of the bridge. I did a silo, the underground, the tunnel explosives, for caverns, Luray caverns. But
I'd say the bridge is pretty cool.
Yeah, the bridge one, that one, we were quite a long time on the vetting process for that one, getting everything situated and figuring out where all the abutments are and, you know, your load bearing points and make sure it came straight down.
So who gets to dig it all out of the water?
That's not my problem. My problem is to blow the shit up and then I'm out of there.
So do you guys have to go down under the water and plant, or is it all above water?
No, we basically on the bridge, we put 3 charges, one at the base, one in the middle, and one at the top where the bridge platform connects. And then just basically brought it straight down like an accordion.
Yeah, that's right. That big fat concrete nub that was coming out of the river base, that's somebody else's problem, John.
Bridge was fun
Seems
though.
like it'd be easier to just cut it with concrete saw.
Oh no!
Concrete saw.
Concrete saw. Why the hell do I use a concrete saw when I got dynamite?
That's like using a pair of scissors to cut the grass.
Oh, you don't do that?
You don't do that.
I have commercial mowers and weed eaters, and I still use my hands and pull grass when I miss a spot.
At night in the dark
can't
too,
afford gas.
probably.
Actually, I do use a pair of scissors around the chain link fence poles where you can't get it with the weed whacker.
Are you
so
kidding
just
me?
grab it and
You're
you
not
cut
kidding,
it.
are you?
That's some serious.
He's not.
I'm
He's
being
not.
totally serious. Well, it's not.
I
lawn scissors.
guarantee he uses like these gold hairstylist scissors, and he's out there snip, 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 snip.
No.
And it stands back.
He's
I was just gonna say, he's gonna come with him.
Snip, snip.
No.
Hey, I could do this.
Gives them to the kids.
Honey.
Make yourself useful.
Just a little off the top.
No, you scalped it. You scalped the lawn right here, clearly.
No, Jason's the Mohawk lever.
If you got to use scissors without your weed whacker, you're not using it right.
Around the chain link fence?
Yeah, you just don't know how to do it.
There's no way you can get behind the chain links.
Trust me.
Oh, yeah?
Go to the other side.
Right. But how do you get on the other side in between? You can't.
You walk on. You trim on both sides.
You keep
dum-dum.
whacking. You keep whacking the fence with the weed whacker until
Exactly.
there's
until
no.
you go through like 10 feet of
that
string for
plastic
one pole.
roll. Yeah, exactly.
fine.
It's
It's
fine.
fine.
That's okay.
Use a real trimmer.
You're not poor. Just buy
Yeah,
more.
but then you fuck up
You
your
got plot of
fence.
money.
No, you don't.
It's
Are you
okay.
Really?
Just build
No,
new
you
ones.
don't.
How do you
fuck
know,
the
Bo?
fence up. Because I weed whacked once.
Put a skill saw blade on you.
I watched Sad do it when we had a fence.
I watched it. I watched my
Totally
father
different.
use the weed whacker once. No, I used to weed whack. You got to remember, I used to do my own lawn care. That's why I'm adamant about paying somebody else to do it now in my adulthood, because I didn't like it at all.
Oh my
It was a
God.
grand waste of time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm happy to pay you, Mr. Dude that lives in Ohio, $25 a week to mow my lawn.
Man, you are underpaying so much. You should
That's
start
all he
a lawn
wants for
business
it.
Called it Bo Cares.
What?
Not running a charity here. $25 is fine.
45 minimum.
He
I
told
ain't
me
looking
last
at
week,
it.
he's like, hey, I just so you know, you parked your camper way too close to your house. I can't get my what is that mower you have? What's that called? Like the one you stand on and you zoom around the front yard and the whole thing is cut in like 4 minutes. That's funny. No. It's the stand-up kind. It's not the kind that you push. It's not like my dad's old 1972 Snapper.
It's called a stander.
Okay. He's like, I can't fit
Don't lie
this
to him.
through there. I can't get into your backyard to cut this grass.
He
So,
might have called it a zero turn.
he didn't say
But
that.
it's a
He just said
standard.
I can't fit my mower through there. And then I
There you
immediately
go.
looked
That's
over
what's
at his trailer to see
72
if he
inch.
had a push mower, because I was going to say bullshit. And then
That's
he's
another
like,
$15 you got to pull out the push mower.
yeah, right. I'm sure. So anyway, so last year I actually got my pocket pick, or last week I got my pocket picked because he's like, I'm sorry, I can't mow your backyard. I just can't fit.
Man, I'm trying to think. That guy actually is charging
Smart.
Not enough because
I know.
I used to
He's
get
way
$25
undercharging.
when I was in 6th grade
Right.
mowing this person's house.
Right.
You got that much? I only charged like $5 per yard when I was a kid.
I lived in Aurora.
Same here. Same here.
I would push my lawnmower 2 miles into the rich area to knock on doors.
See, I lived in a rural area.
He handed him a piece of paper that said, "Hi, my name is AJ. I'm colorblind. I'd love to mow your lawn. You're going to have, if you
And
could
I'm
do
a
me a favor
minority.
and mark off the green parts, I'd love to cut this for you."
I mowed my neighbor's yard with a push mower. It was 2 acres for $5.
Sally, look at this kid. He's mowing the fucking driveway.
I'm blowing it off.
I can't afford a blower. Got to use the push mower to blow the
That's what
driveway.
you did, man. That's all the tools I had.
That'll be
Like
$45.
and a Murray freaking push lawnmower from Walmart. But I made money.
Hey, you got yours from Walmart? I got mine from the side person selling on the side of the street.
Actually,
A
it was
mower?
called Venture. Don't know if you guys remember those Venture stores.
That was the Mexican mower.
That's Mexicans. That's what are you talking about? John, do you remember Venture?
I vaguely.
Okay. It was like
That's a no.
It was like a. It went.
That was I feel bad for you. I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
feel
agree
bad
with
for
you.
you. Cool story, bro.
Cool story. Tell us some more.
Venture Mowers,
No, Venture
Nothing
was
like
the name of the store.
the store. Is
It
it?
was
Is
the only one
that,
that sold. Yeah.
That was
is that
up
a
there with
redneck?
service
Is that a
merchandise.
redneck version of Adventure?
I mean, it's in Aurora, so I wouldn't say it was. Oh, Aurora's like a bigger city, so I wouldn't say it's a redneck thing.
Well, they
Yeah.
got Aurora in Indiana as well. And Alaska.
And
Venture store. Let me see if I can look this up.
Oh, I'm-
Wikipedia.
every legend has an origin story, I suppose. And it was nice to get to know both of yours when it came to lawn care.
When it came to lawn care, what was Jason's lawn care story?
I got told
blows it
growing
up.
up that you're going to mow this lawn.
He just blows his yard up. Right.
Yeah, I
And
got
then you
told
replace it with
when
lava
it was
rocks.
time to mow the lawn, it was no, you ain't getting paid for shit. It's go mow the damn lawn or I'll beat your ass.
Oh, I didn't get paid for my lawn.
I didn't get paid for the neighbor's lawn either. It was go help thy neighbor or I'll beat your ass.
I know. I had to go. I used to mow my neighbor's yard. They had a riding mower that didn't work, and I had a push mower. And the neighbors had 2 acres, and we had 1.5 acres. I push mow the neighbor's yard for $5. I don't know why. And then I had to push mow our yard, but I had to do it twice a week because the leach line was half the front yard. So I had to push mow that twice a week. It was brutal.
See,
For some reason, I enjoy mowing. Exactly. But I don't have a push mower. I have a push mower, but I don't use it. I haven't started it in a year.
I'm
like
almost at the
AJ.
age
I
where
got
I'm going
told
to
to
start
mow
doing
the
my yard once a year.
neighbor's lawn with hand scissors.
I remember the first time I used a weed eater or a weed whacker or whatever you want to call it. My hands were, my whole hands were shaking like I had Parkinson's
Tourette's?
afterwards.
Parkinson, yeah.
Yeah, Tourette's.
Oh my God. For some reason that video that I saw on Facebook pops up where she's like an Uber
Tourette's
driver.
guy?
Have you seen? Yeah, and the guy gets in with her and he screams and she screams and she goes, "Oh my God, do you have Tourette's too?" He's like, "Yeah." And then they just start fucking with each other the whole time, the whole ride. It's hilarious.
You ever seen the Tourette's guy?
Wait,
The Tourette's
No.
guy.
no.
He's like,
Bob Saget!
I got Bob Saget!
Bob Saget!
I'm calling about your Colgate toothpaste with tartar control, and it tastes like shit.
Bob Saget.
I haven't.
You hit me in my dick, and it hurt.
God, these are so funny. think he died, didn't he?
Anybody else have a woodpecker in their ears?
Huh?
Woodpecker.
No. I don't.
Is that code for penis?
What are we talking about?
I thought we were talking about the Tourette's guy, and
Yeah, I
thought we were
went
too.
to like something about ears.
Pretty sure he
Something about
died.
peckers in the ears. I don't know. This thing changed gears
Jamie's
real
like,
quick.
what?
Oh God. Yeah, we're real friendly here at the Rhythm Pyro Podcast. Oh man. So what have you guys found? So it's 2024. Pyro shows this year. What kind of challenges have you guys run into this season with shows?
Nothing really yet. It'll be day of.
Said the guy that's shooting in the pro division at Sky Wars.
Well, I get to do all my testing for Sky Wars during my town shows.
Yeah.
So obviously, new thing for me I'm doing this year is the wheel.
Yeah.
So bringing that to 2 of my town shows.
Nice.
So,
Nice. Are you using a Plata wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the 48 shot from Craigco.
Yeah. Do you talk to it before you erect it?
Not yet. It's
it.
still sitting out there with your balls
Call
on
it
top
Tell
of
it to
it.
behave
Cleaning.
itself. Yeah.
Still sitting on the garage with your balls sitting on top of it right now.
When I want you to shoot green comets, I would like you to shoot green comets. When I want you to shoot purple mines, I want you to shoot purple mines. How are you using it? Are you, you got anything innovative planned for it?
Just going around in a circle, kind of.
Going around a circle. Yeah.
See how it works. I spent a few hours yesterday trying to figure out how to address it, and that's a shit show. But I think we got it figured out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a circle, so it could be worse.
Yeah, but while I was addressing it, it was throwing. I think at one point it was like the one show is 80 shots on the wheel, and it was addressing it like 17 mods. It was putting like 3 to 10 shots per mod.
Jeez.
Yeah,
That's weird.
It was.
How did you?
It was all.
Did you address it in finale?
Yes.
What kind of what'd you use for your addressing scheme?
Oh, like angles, pan tilt. Then there was, what's the other? There's like 17 different names for the angles on there.
Yeah, what does that mean, Bo? By the way, pan tilt. So, like we're talking about this. Jamie told him how to do it, but how do you just tell it, hey, position? I want you to go from negative to positive, and then by time. There's go ahead.
Your angle and pan and tilt, like whatever you put first, it's always going to prioritize that over what's in the next spot. So like the pan and tilt, if you have specific angles, I mean, I don't understand why it would fill up a module and then move on to another module unless you put a limitation on it. Which are you, John, are you using Finale Pro or are you using Hobbyist?
Pro.
So you don't have a blueprint engaged, do you?
I don't believe so.
Because if you had a blueprint engaged and you had overarching project level settings that said, hey, no matter what, at this pan tilt, just fill that up and then move on to the next mod. Like if you had that somewhere in your settings, then it would absolutely create a new module because it's just kind of using that logic. But I don't know really because I don't have access to Pro. I only have hobbyists, and us poor people of the world, we pay $350 a year so we can address 3 or 4 shows. using like I forget exactly what they call that in Finale. Hold on a second. I actually just did something the other day with this. I think it's the order of assignment is how it goes. But like if you do position name, and I can't remember, Jamie would know better than I how we did it. I just asked him the other day because somebody was asking in the Discord about how to do, like the tried and true sub positioning, the Tim Jameson method with the racks, and like how to transition that to hobbyist where you don't have access to blueprints. And you have to make sub positions, and then you just go by angle first. And I think the order was angle. And I believe the second, I can't remember if it was event time or,
I think I'm talking with Jamie yesterday. He just does position name and angle.
Yes. Yeah. So for Octoblast, we did position name first, and then angle, pan and tilt, and then event time. So the pan and tilt aspect of that, AJ, is I don't think the pan really comes into play with fireworks because everything is really just a tilt, and it just tilts along a specific axis. But for like DMX stuff, when you're doing like DMX lights and stuff, like that was the only time that I ever felt like I did anything with the pan options in Finale, because it's like you're coming forward, and then if you're coming forward and going backwards, it was essentially turning like a moving head and then using a different axis that we don't normally use in fireworks.
So when you did that, John, though, it added an additional module, right?
Yeah. When I think it was just position name and angle, and it was adding a sixth mod.
But it was not using up all of the cues on previous modules.
No, it was throwing 16 on one. I remember the fifth mod was only showing 2 cues. Then the sixth mod had 7 cues on it.
Do you have anything? Check your position properties for each of the launch positions that you have, and just make sure that you don't have anything limited. If you have specific modules called out on each of the launch positions, I'm assuming that did you do it in different launch positions? Did you create different launch positions, or did you just throw all of this stuff into one launch position / container in Finale and call that wheel?
Yeah, so my wheel is just one position. Mm-hmm. And I talking with Jamie yesterday, I just learned about subbing and adding new positions per say 36 shot rack. Mm-hmm. So I've got everything on one position. So there's my Skywars show has 200 and some shots on one position. So now I know I can go back and redo all that.
Yeah. He's on Pro. He's on Finale Pro. So he doesn't have to sub-position. Wow. He doesn't have to sub-position like we do to get the same kind of effect.
I learned him how to do that too.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again?
Say that again? He teached me.
I learned him.
Teached it.
He went by and whoa. Seriously, no one's going to catch that? I caught that. I say one will.
I have the worst grammar in the world, and I caught
that. Seriously.
I could tell when you say your, Y-O-U-R versus Y-O-U''re when you talk too. It's weird.
Does he say it specifically?
Exactly.
No, it's specifically.
Yeah, he says Pischetti too.
Pischetti.
I've been catching myself though a lot lately. I always have to think of the first how to say it. I'm
what are we talking about?
I'm gonna say it. Okay, here I go.
Pacifically.
Got it. Fuck you, Bo. I did it.
Kiss my fucking ass.
It's my ass.
You can't say
One of
white,
these
can
days,
ya?
you want to see me gut laugh, just start naming different oceans of the world when you say it.
There's
The specific ocean?
Antarctically.
We'll get it right on that. It's just specific ocean.
Atlantically, if we wind up Atlantically, if you take
I can say
position
Atlantic.
A, position.
Seriously,
said
no one
Atlantic.
caught that?
You said Atlantic.
No, I said a land tit.
Oh, wow.
No one said anything.
Yeah. Yep, this is a new low.
I did, but mine's all delayed.
Hey, your gains. But you know what's not is your gain, baby. Your gain is good.
That flew up.
Yeah, that's right. The gain is good.
Well, I hit my gain, so it might be a little bit high. All right,
John,
so back to the
wheels.
position event or position
Yeah,
angle.
yeah, right. So I was
position show off.
Yeah, right. I was telling him that when we did Octoblast, we did the position name and angle tilt. So it's the angle, which is, parentheses,
Tilt,
pan and tilt.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it would be skipping cues unless something in like a native blueprint or something hard coded to each position.
It's not now, right?
No, everything. Well, so the way I ended up finishing it, which I emailed Drew last night, and he told me too. He's like, you shouldn't have to do that. But the only way I got it to work was in setting number 3. Each slat is restricted to a single, and then I put angle plus minus, and then everything worked.
Yeah, that's weird.
Was it because did you fix all your angles where they were negative because it's 360 degrees? Did you fix all those angles?
I did that after the fact, and then I had to readdress again.
That's probably why, because you had 360 degrees of angles and it was skipping over cues because it was putting it into another slat because it was addressing it as a different
It could have been. Yeah.
I'm almost positive that's what it was. If you had addressed it if you had fixed those angles where it wasn't 360 degrees, it should have addressed them by the angle.
Yeah, now that you say that, thinking about it, because there was some that were set at like 210 and 360. Yeah. Some were 0, some had nothing.
So they were positive instead of negative. So when you addressed it by angle, it was putting it in a positive side, and you're like, that's not where I need it. I need it over here. That's exactly what it was.
So AJ, how easy is it to do in ShowSim?
Oh, it's pretty simple in ShowSim. AJ will tell you all about it. Trust me.
Wow.
Jeez,
If that wasn't pre-abated by the chat, I don't know what was.
What, pre-baited? Is that what you said? I was talking to you basically when I texted that.
It's like a fucking donkey chasing after a carrot.
What does that mean?
Pick me.
Only I'm the donkey and I chase my own carrot.
Well, here's the thing. It wasn't a finale error. It was a user error.
Yes, it was.
So
It was
you're
I
saying
couldn't
what
figure it out because I was trying to help him for 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, I don't know, try this or try that.
This happened to us, to Bo and Octoblast, when you scripted the show. When we scripted the show on the wheel, sometimes the angle when it was set in the wheel got put in at 210 degrees instead of negative. I don't know the numbers without looking at it. Instead of creating a negative angle, it was like 210. So when we addressed the show, it threw off. It put 210 in the positive spectrum instead of the negative quadrant.
So thinking about
that's
it,
crazy though, because that's a totally different direction.
well, thinking about it, if you go into
It was doing it by positive negatives, not by the actual degrees.
if you go into the script and when you reorder, and then you can put it I'm having a brain fart on what exactly it is, but when you go into your script, you can preset, like if you want to do a fan shape, you put it at 180 degrees.
Right.
And I think I might have on a few times done that and put it in 360. And then that's when you get the 210 and 360 and stuff like that.
Because Bo did that on shooting all at once in a full circle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he did it that way or not, but
yeah, so I had to go through and correct a whole bunch of them. Well, I'll put it in a fan at like 75 degrees. Well, then I've got shit sitting at 22 degrees, 18, 47.
I fixed most of them in Octoblast before we addressed the show. Where there was actually one. I was looking at it with John last night. He's like, oh, there's one right there. Because there was one random cue that was just like, that's weird.
So did you wind up, when you fixed it, did you wind up having to do any of it manually? Or when Jamie started to look at it, did you put something into the constraints that kind of prevent the wires from going to module and then that fixed it?
No, the only thing I did was in setting number 3, limit each or restrict each slat to angle plus minus.
Okay. So what did you have to set the plus minus to?
That's just the pre-setting in Finale.
Huh.
So when you drop down the first box,
yeah,
it just says angle plus minus.
Jeez.
So then it started the way it configured it, which is fine with me. It started at the very bottom of the wheel at 180, and then it worked, clockwise around.
Yeah. Huh.
But everything looks like it's, gonna work and not just be chaos.
What was that?
It's
well,
like
that's
a
good
ring.
news.
It's continuous.
That's good news.
It just goes around and around.
Yeah.
It's a wheel. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to go around.
Well, and I was just nervous about, timing on the wheel too. If I'm shooting,
just left it alone and hand it to AJ at Skywars.
Here, do this.
I would just have it done before I got there.
Unless it was the first time you did one.
I've been working on this for 6 months.
And then you guys just disappear for 8 hours hiding in a trailer.
Yeah,
Come out with a rat's nest.
It was
like
top
no other.
secret.
I just took a sip right in front of the mic, and I know he's going to yell at me for that one.
Oh man!
You took a what in front of the
I
mic?
know I know they're doing something different at Skywars this year with the vertical effects. With the elevated effects. Well, what changed from AJ your years doing the elevated effects and what the rules are now? Like, what's changed and what kind of processes and workflows have you guys had to rethink to implement those effects?
So basically the rule is now is you can do anything you want in your own lane.
Yeah. But
You
then that's a
cannot cross.
challenge for the plotter wheel because because of the space that's required to get it stabilized.
Yep.
With the ratchet straps.
So I think what the plan is
wires
now,
or whatever you choose to use to keep it braced.
Mm-hmm.
We could have had the room, but there was a whole 30-foot section that was taken up last year.
Mm.
I think it's going to turn into scissor lifts, and you can. Oh God, people are chuckling.
I did chuckle. That was me.
So am I hearing correctly? Plotted wheels are no longer allowed?
As long as it stays in your
They're
lane.
pretty much, they're not allowed because you only get 10 feet and you can't anchor something in 10 feet. So,
I mean,
could you
all straps and
theoretically
cables and everything have to be in your lane.
I feel like the physics of it, you might be able to do it if you get the angling correct at 4 points, but I think it would be
You may have
really
to add
tricky.
7 more straps to it, but
you couldn't do it with just the 4.
Huh.
The physics.
I think basically it's going to be scissor lifts, and then you can bring in like JLG basket lifts. But I think the new way now I've heard is they'll be drove in from the side, and then they can they still lift up, but in your own lane. They won't be forward facing. You'd have to use the sides of the baskets.
Yeah, right.
Or scaffolding.
Yeah.
10 foot?
No, 39 39 and a half feet.
What the hell is
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was you guys. That's my
What?
kid throwing something around. I'm going to go yell at him.
No, 39 and a half feet scaffolding because, 40 feet is OSHA, right? It's when the man comes.
And technically anything. Oh, I don't know in Missouri, so.
Yeah, you don't want to see me at work.
Scott Smith knows. Just call him. He can tell you.
What are you talking about? I saw
Scaffolding.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So what are you going to use? You going to use a lift?
Maybe.
He can't talk about it.
I said maybe.
There's things that he can't talk about.
I don't think
First
it's a
rule about
secret.
Fight
If you've
Club.
got a wheel and you show up to Sky Wars and you mount it 10 feet off the ground, that's not a surprise. That's a disappointment.
So I could go back at Flying Pyro last year. I brought the wheel and I had it loaded, but we ran out of time and they would not let me lift it up.
Yes.
So I had to just stake it to the ground where it sat. And luckily everything was, 90 degrees, nothing was a straight 180. But that was a little disappointing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the most disappointing part about that was, no music, but
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I guess that's the trick, really. I mean, if you're gonna let down everybody, you just make sure that whatever the most letted down factor is so big that people are like, "Wow, what the fuck was it? Oh, you had a wheel in that show? I didn't even notice."
Yeah, it wasn't up. It must have been down.
I didn't notice. But what was wrong with your music?
you didn't hear me out there singing it?
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think the wheel thing is crazy. Why did they make the rule, AJ, about was there
Because of me, because the first year I used it in 21,
Mr.
that
Ratchet straps
big
himself.
open lane, I had plenty of room to use it. And then last year when I was out there, I'm like, hey, where can I stick these? And they were like, well, it's got to be in your lane. I'm like, really? Like, you knew about these like forever ago. I was like, I'll just stick them back there with K-caps lifts. Oh, no, you can't put them there. Okay. Thank God Tim Trapp didn't use his lane in front of me, so I had that 10 feet. So I gave me 20 feet, and then David gave me a couple feet into his lane. So I just barely made it to support
they
that thing.
they didn't get in the way of anybody's effects, I don't think.
No, that's what I mean, because Tim didn't use the front lane, so I gained 10
Even
feet.
if they did, they wouldn't. The Strats wouldn't have gotten away with anything.
Dude, and I don't think that
my front lane was pretty busy, dude.
And I know, but I don't think any of that stuff. It's crazy how people believe that like those ratchet straps are just like a magnet for fireworks.
I know
it's gonna happen. It's like I'm gonna shoot something that way, and I know it's gonna hit that ratchet straps. I absolutely know. It's
gonna
good luck.
hit it, ain't
I
gonna
mean,
hurt
that's
it.
like the odds are not in their favor.
I think it'll be all right from now on, as long as every show doesn't have a lift.
Yeah,
Flame pots is the only thing that's going to hurt it.
This is true.
I know. Just bring in helicopters.
Yeah, I mean, there's
what
no
time,
rule, right?
What time do I need to be there? Over.
If it's not in the
I don't
rules,
know.
that means it's
I
legal.
don't know. We're working on fireworks
It's not
and
in the
drones. You just
rules.
can't
That
have a
means
bunch
it's
of drones
legal.
out there.
It's
It's
legal.
But here you are a year later complaining about, well, man, but I just said, this went over a few feet.
Once we can get them
What did I
fireworks with
just complain
drones,
about?
everything.
I'm really confused on what I complained about.
Because you went over the line into the other lanes. Trap lets you use his, and then David lets you use his. But then you said that they complained. Well, they complained because if you guys didn't talk about
They
it
didn't
beforehand, huh?
Who
You just
complained?
said that they made the rule because of you, right?
I was joking around saying probably because I was constantly asking, hey, where am I setting these up? Where am I setting these up? Where am I setting these up?
But if you guys communicated about it, you wouldn't have needed to have that conversation, right?
I I already communicated. I had text messages
explain communication?
And pictures, and I sent him the same picture that Brian sent me to show, hey, from this angle to this angle, you need this minimum foot kind of to get that perfect hold.
Could you use an example of communication?
Could you use a text message with pictures and words? It's pretty good communication.
John says, I'll see you at the podcast tomorrow. I'm like, what podcast?
See you at the podcast tomorrow.
I was pretty, what the hell is that?
Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, I like the vertical effects. I think they're cool, and they add something to the whole dynamic of the show. For sure.
Aren't all the fireworks vertical effects?
They are, but I'm talking I'm talking the origination. So if you're going to get a little more specific there, like the origination plane of the effects.
Communication, got it.
Got it. Let me know you're doing it.
Oh my god, Jamie!
So if I can bring in a 300-foot tower, can I shoot 2.5-inch shells upside down?
They're not going to hit the ground, I swear.
Sweet bouncing effects.
Upside down.
I don't think. Do you think they'd ever allow ground shells? I know they've done ground salutes at Sky Wars, but do you ever think they'd allow ground shells?
Yeah. No, there's an actual word for that. What is the name of those? Oh God.
Oh, ground shells. I mean, if you YouTube ground shells, you see a whole bunch of like Japanese ground shells, which are.
I swear I'm not trying to throw this out there again, but there's actually that effect on ShowSim, and there's a whole category or catalog of these things.
There you go. Way to put that plug in there.
Shells.
I said I wasn't trying to, but what else am I going to say? There's this thing I use that has this catalog in it. You know, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then it becomes FOMO, and then he gets more shit for that than he does mentioning ShowSim.
See, exactly. If I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't.
It's this thing that only I have access to that you're going to have to DM me about if you want to know.
That product that shall not be named.
Think of ground shells. So
I'm just going to call them Plata shells.
Plata shells.
I got to play with water shells once. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, those are
fun. Like water cakes.
Hey, John, that show that you guys shot this weekend that I tuned into the live on, I noticed that you guys shot some water shells into the river, didn't you?
There was water cakes at the end that they had.
Really?
So.
I think you're thinking of they were Roman candle things.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what it was.
You threw a stone kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they were angled just enough to where, like, when they shot off, they were bouncing across the water.
Huh.
That's really funny because when I watched that, I thought a cake just went completely sideways.
I did it first, too.
So right at the very end, when I said like those gerbs were on the water, were those water cakes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So those are what I was talking about. I think maybe I missed the first ones then.
Those are perfect for light at the lake.
Yeah, we did them one year.
Yeah. They got some cool ones. The ones that I like are I don't know what they're called, but they're dancing. When they, you get like the silver spark effect.
Yeah.
But they flow and they wave back around, and it's not just a straight up spark.
It's not. Yeah, right.
These that I've seen before, they actually wave and they dance. Those are really cool.
Those are called strippers.
Wow.
Swing around the pole. The ones that we used the year at the lake, I think they were I don't know if it was a red gerb or it was just like a little red floating fountain. Mm-hmm. Something really similar to that. Cause there were only two effects that I could buy at that time. And one of them was like the effect that you guys shot that I think I don't think they even moved. I think it was either you had the choice between the silver gerb fountain or the red, and I picked the red, but we shot them from 4 different places, 4 different spots around the lake, and it looked really cool. Mm-hmm. It was just really hard to coordinate. It was really hard to coordinate with all the different property owners and things like that.
Lake of fire.
Yeah, exactly. This little private fishing lake of fire.
But did you die?
Did you
Somebody
die?
But I always wonder, like when you guys shot them this past weekend at that show and they were floating down the river like that, how long did they burn? Because I think you cut the feed off before I could see where they really burned out.
I think they were 60 seconds.
Really? No problems with that, huh? It's almost just like shoot him and then God wills it. Like, you know, because I couldn't tell how fast the river was moving until you guys shot the water cakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, there's some pretty good.
There they go.
Perfect cake for Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Yeah.
Right.
Devil went down the Wabash.
That doesn't rhyme though.
Jason, do you guys use any water cakes on the water?
No, not.
No.
I thought about it.
Wow, my ears.
But not.
What about water cakes on land?
Yeah. Not. I haven't tried any of them yet. So.
Yeah.
They're pretty
Was
cool.
working-
The crowd loves them.
I was working with Brian to try and get a wheel up out into the river, and we went back. We've been going back and forth for a while, trying to figure out a way to get it erected
That'd be
up.
cool, man.
But trying to figure out, because you can't drive the pin into the riverbed.
Yeah.
So we were trying to devise some way to get it anchored down, and every angle we came up with was just like, man, I don't know. By making this angle was going to create another problem in another area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially
I don't know,
if you
man.
get it to come out of the water, like, you know, a serpent, you know, just rise up, then all the fireworks start coming out of it.
What?
Right? What?
What?
You lost me.
4th of July. It's basically like a Saturday morning cartoon.
It's like dead cord.
It's like dead cord.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a penis. No, it's a
it's the plotter
pyrotechnic
wheel
wheel.
coming out of the river.
It's a plotter wheel. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like that would be really tough on a platform that's got that footprint to it.
Well, we were trying to figure out if we could put it into like a, what I was trying to figure out, like take and cut the top off a 55-gallon drum and then put like a sleeve in the middle of it and fill it, you know, with whatever 57s or something like that stone to keep the drum stable. But the problem was once we stood it up, Brian said there's no way we'd be able to just slide it down inside of the of the sleeve. It's just too much weight.
Yeah. How deep is the body of water out there?
It depends, to be honest, depends on how much it rains. I've had it as high as 4.5 feet and as low as 2.5.
Okay.
What if you make a 40 by 40 foot platform and just bolt it to the platform?
Yeah, I mean, you're already at 100 feet. Let's just commit.
Well, my two platforms I have on the outside.
Expensive right now, guys.
It's got to be one solid platform, 40 by 40. That way you can have, or what is it, 27 feet from the post? Is that what it is, AJ? So it needs to be a 54 by 54 foot platform.
No, that's if you're at one click.
One click. No. But
if you're like 5 or 6 clicks, then it's 20. It's 24 point.
How far does the post need to be away from the
inches.
stake for the straps?
15 foot in all directions.
So 30 foot. So you get away with 40 foot by 40 foot. Just one platform, and then you could stake it in all four corners, and it'd just be floating out in the river.
I mean, it's possible.
Then you might have to have a counterweight in the middle of the platform just so it doesn't decide to topple over.
Well, and mine don't float. They're anchored by legs.
On this side.
Do it.
Yeah, see, I don't have floating platforms.
Don't think, just do.
Make them.
Are yours embedded in the lake, the foundation of the lake?
No.
Or the river?
They're.
I don't know. Is it a river? Is it a lake? What is it?
It's a river. Yeah, it's just it's on the riverbed, so it's just basically like tables.
Huh. Interesting. That's a really
It took
cool
me a little
approach,
bit to
man.
get it situated, but it's not bad. I mean, it does the job. Every year has been an adventure, though.
Do you have to do any repairs over the years on that
Every
platform?
year.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Every year it's repairs, but I also run, just for safety, I run side rails around all of them so that way nothing can turn over. I've had to put a little more thought into that part of it, making sure that they're on the table, so if something goes sideways on the table, it's almost like a barge in a way that if the cakes catch fire, everything's very close quartered. So I don't have a lot of room between one cake to the next. So if one cake catches fire, there's only about 4 inches between each cake at each table. So, the mortar racks or anything like that. So I've got fire blankets over top of my mods. But
nice.
Once if something goes up, I just got to kind of monitor it and then may have to pause the show to go out there and put something out because it's impossible to just let it burn. It'll burn a hole through the table or light up about 8 other objects around it.
Just put your mods in the water.
I thought about
float
that.
Them on,
put them on little floaties out there.
Exactly. Like with little flamingo heads on them.
Yeah, there you go.
Put a little, the little glow sticks for night fishing.
Yeah. What's that? That's one of my modules.
That catfish is now taken away.
As long as it's a blue.
You kill 2 birds with 1 stone right there, right? You just playing a catfish line.
Pause the show. This is a big one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh man. Yeah, that's great.
The
Do you
show
float is the platform floated with drums?
No. All the platforms,
No?
I've got a total of 7, 12, 13 tables in all out there. And they're all, have 6 legs, 2 on each corner. Obviously your 4 corners and then 2 in the middle.
Yeah. So what's what keeps it afloat? Or is that, do you have foundation in the riverbed?
Well, no, what I discovered was once we anchor 2 tables are together, then there's a gap, then 3, then a gap, and then 2. So
Okay.
once you then drill those tables together and mount them together between the legs, the plywood, and all the framework, and then of course the fireworks that are on it, that amount of weight holds them down. And luckily the river doesn't get that high to where it can actually, the buoyancy would lift them up and want to carry them downstream.
Yeah.
So with that weight holding them down to the ground, to the floor bed, it's not been an issue.
Are your tables set at like 4 or 5 feet?
I have 3-foot legs and then 4-foot legs.
Okay.
Depending on, like I said, if it rains more.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because technically they're only out there for how long? I mean, how long is your setup before you're officially in teardown?
That's that has been an adventure every year. We've literally, I start setting up at about 5:36 in the morning. I'll be the first one out there. It's in an area where we already have river lots, so a lot of the family's already there. I'll get up early. I'm out in the water by 5:30, and every year so far, we're hoping this will be our first year not to do this, but I'm getting out of the water by 8:30, 8:45.
Nice.
So it's an all day process sitting in the water in the sun, July heat, and
I can imagine.
How many people do you have for the crew?
6.
God, how many do we have for years? We had 4, Bo, right?
Yeah, it was, I think, just 4.
We usually have
How many just floating out in the middle?
2 trying to bring
cues
everything down, and then 4 in the water.
Man.
What's your typical cue count?
Well, every year I have a total of 684 cues that I can use, but I have slats on everything. One year I had 1,300. But what I have learned...
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yep.
Yeah, what I learned was, well, I say 1,300. I had 1,300 utilizing slats and everything off of 667 total cues. So it was quite more process because I've only actually been utilizing this will be my 4th year. So I basically dove into this thing way over my head. And
you just need more friends.
Yeah. Well, everybody that's doing this is all new to it. I had no I was the only one that did all the research and basically learned how to utilize everything. Everybody else just keeps looking at me going, okay, what do I do next? Because they had zero experience other than with a lighter.
Hey, I'm here for that thing that we do every year. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, this is all you got to do now.
I'm your guy.
You hand each one of your friends a purchase order. I need you to buy this year. That's your one and only goal. You need to buy a 18M. You need to buy a 36M, and you need to buy a 72M. That's all you guys got to do. And then bring
the bad part is that this is for a family show. So 90% of it, I pay out of pocket to basically for all the families to come together. And it runs me about $7 to $9 grand every year.
Yeah. Did they pitch in at all?
Yeah. That's
allegedly.
Yeah, that's good.
So I said about 70 to 80% of it comes out of my pocket, and then everybody else pitches in what they can to help with it. But I started doing it because I wanted to, the family to have a big event together and everybody to have a good time and all that. And it's kind of turned into every year, like you all always say, every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's gotten out of hand now.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's really cool to see. One thing that I feel like I've seen a lot over the last 3 or 4 years are like the pop-ups of really cool different sites. And I'm talking just like topology and unique sites that people are finding creative ways to put up fireworks shows in. Just really neat venues. And yours is extremely unique because of that. Because I think the first time that I saw pictures of your setup, I'm like, holy shit, man, this is super creative. Because, you're taking essentially a really shallow riverbed and creating a launch platform. It's not by any means a small launch footprint. I mean, it's like, I would consider my launch footprint small because I consolidate everything on really tiny rafts. The fact that you've made a fully usable front on a body of water is awesome. I think that's extremely creative.
It's been a challenge because every year I have to try to learn, how to, because I don't have the space to really stretch out my Credco racks and stuff like that. So every year I'm trying to figure out, okay, this is too much. This is, not enough. And it's definitely been a challenge on how, and I having only 600, just over 600 cues. Our show that I do, because everybody in the family, they're like, well, we want a long show. It's 30 minutes. So I do 8 songs.
That's pretty awesome for that footprint, dude.
Well, I have to utilize a lot of cakes in full length, which makes it very difficult in order to get that type of length in the show. And I basically do a little bit different than what everybody else does. I basically take 7 to 8 songs and I basically run full length songs. I don't like the episode y'all just had. I don't chop up the songs. Yeah. So I basically have I have 8 micro shows.
I don't adulterate good music, Bo.
But I run 8 mini shows into one big show.
Yeah. And that's awesome, dude. Like the being able to like take all that stuff because you're shooting on essentially the footprint of a table on a body of water. I mean, how do you keep your compartmentalized launch positions and footprint managed? Because at a certain point, is it just experience? Do you know when you load so many items into, I don't know what your launch position layout looks like from end to end on this 100-foot stretch of tables. But like when you have this, how do you know how much is too much and what may not be enough when it comes to space? How do you know, like looking at something, I know I'm not full on cues here, but I know based on the size of this cake and the size of that cake and the size of this cake that I'm already, and these 2 Craigco racks that I have at this position, that I'm probably already at capacity. Would you say that that's an experience thing? Or like, and then what did you do the years where you're like, oh shit, I'm out of space. How do I improvise?
It was, I did go down there and like we put 3 platforms up, one dead center, one is far left. That is, there's also, of course, you got to fight the trees. So the primary crowd, is who I'm trying to shoot for. And then we got crowd on the other side of the river as well that, they have lots over there. So they just kind of get to see what goes on. But obviously I'm catering to the family. Well, there's also a bunch of massive trees that I have to try and, so I basically have a 100-foot picture window to shoot into. I exceed that. Yeah. So anybody across the river, they get to see the whole thing. It's just the way the land layout is. It is what it is. But I did put the platforms out, stretching one in the middle, one left, one right, and then ran my angles and went out there and just I think it was a Memorial weekend, and just set, one at 35, one at 55, and just shot them at single shots as test runs to see, okay, how far does that shoot across? And try to figure out what angles were going to work best to where, like a single shot crescent wasn't going to break after it passed through the tree. So they'd never even get to see what was going on. So I learned that about 55 is about my max on my angle when it comes to, comets, meters, things like that. Mines I can get a little more extreme with. But it's definitely, I run this year, I'll have about 14 Craigco racks. My front row is probably about 60 foot. But what I did was I basically took the left, middle, and right, and then kind of the inside left, inside right. So I would alternate those so they're not shooting together so they wouldn't stay so tight. We'll see how that works out this year.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That seems to me like an extreme episode in logistics and just administrative thinking overall. Trying to figure out, like, just understanding year over year. I can imagine the first year that you did this, it was a complete learning experience after it was all over.
It was a complete shit show.
Like, oh man, I gotta, right. Like looking at it and just knowing, okay, I need to change so much about this to try to optimize it, because either stuff got left out or, you just realized that you were well beyond capacity. Cause AJ hit it on the head. Like, I think we all do that, to an extent.
Yeah, it was the first year. I basically grossly underestimated the prep time of what it would take, because I had 10 racks at that time. And I was just like, man, the age old watched videos and researched everything. I was like, man, I could freaking do this. I got this under control. Went out there. There was only 3 of us out there to start with. And we got to 7:30. And we were only halfway through plugging in the queues, and I had almost 1,000 queues.
Yeah.
And I was like, we only got an hour before we lose daylight. I'll be damned if I went through all this and we're not going to have a show, or we're going to have a show. I was like, just fucking plug shit into anything. I don't care what you plug, just plug it into something. So when a cue goes off, something's going to fire. It won't fire correctly, but fuck it, it's going to go. It was so out of sync and not with time and the way it was scripted to do. But man, everybody was like, that was awesome. I'm like, that freaking sucked.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
I did. I just sat there shaking my head the whole time.
Yeah, but I think I think the audience that's accustomed to watching shows, especially if it's the same family group or if it's the same neighborhood group that comes in year after year after year, they watch the show and they're like, wow, that was the best show ever. Because as pyrotechnicians and as hobbyist show designers and even as professional show designers, we get better as we go. The more that we do this stuff, the better that we're going to get. And you have to, I feel, experience these tough times and these, new like break through the wall. They might not be break through the wall innovations for everybody in the world, but let's face it, they did. They are break through the wall in like instances for each of us because we've only done it so much, we don't do it. Like we don't have this, like we have it down to a science, but we don't have it down to a science because we have to get better year after year after year. We have to do something new and we have to do something cool year after year after year. It's like, it's how we feel accomplished in our hobby.
Every year, like for me, I try, and I do extreme music. I want to do music that I love and music that probably nobody's ever thought about using. Like last year, I used Rammstein's Firefly.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, I use all I listen to is metal. So everything's, speaks. So I'm trying to figure out how to, in a small area, accelerate, runs when I don't have a lot of room to do, a lot of chase runs and stuff like that. So I've been really trying to work on how can you take a small area and still get a pretty quick run in a small area. Yeah. That's why I have basically 6-7 positions with my Crayco racks, but I don't shoot them like 1 through 7. I'll shoot like 1, 3, 5, and 7, and then bring it back, 6, 4, 2 to keep them spread apart and keep the gaps so that way they don't run together. Again, I'm going to see what happens this year.
Oh, I'm sure, dude. I'm sure it's going to be awesome too. Like, I mean, I wish to the high heavens that, because there's been years where I'm like, oh man, I started with 3 floating positions. Now I'm at 5 floating positions. What would it be like if I had intermediary positions between those positions, or, I could connect them and then have like a really cool front to do all this stuff. But I have always felt like I need to figure out how to, very much like you, utilize and innovate within the footprints that I have and keep exploring that space to know like, okay, I feel like I've done all that I can do in this amount of space. And at that point, like when I finally feel like I look at a show and I'm like, yeah, man, I feel like I did it. I feel like that was it. That was the epitome of the cool things that I could potentially do creatively in my own purview, looking at me. And I'm happy with like, now let's move it to something else, that's obviously within safe confines to do it.
So do you guys ever stop yourselves? Like, I'm going to do this year. No, I'm going to save it because I don't want to top, how am I going to top this? So do you guys ever stop yourselves from doing something as far as a show?
Well, what I did this year to try and, because my problem is like for me, I listen to music. I'm not a lyric person. Everything I listen to is all beat related. Rammstein's one of my favorite bands. Well, they sing in German. I've learned what their lyrics are now over the years of listening to them and researching it, but I didn't know because I'm a beat person. So when you listen to, fast paced music, I'm trying to look at every beat. Well, it's like one song. Well, that's 600 cues in one song if you're trying to hit every beat to get something to dance. Yeah, I mean, it's just so this year what I tried to do was back off, like you're saying. I said, well, I've got 687 cues. I'm going to try to stay one shot per cue, minus, your cakes are going to shoot multiples. So that way, and really try to play with getting the runs and things like that and letting the cakes, just do their effects, because I had too much overlap by trying to, work through the cakes. Well, when you got a 30-second cake, we all know that the timing is not going to be 30. It's going to be 26 to 33. And so, like I said, we'll see where it lands out. But I ran 677 cues this year of my 684. But I really tried to let each piece work itself out. And we'll see how the show turns out this year by using what you all always say, less is more.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a process to try to figure out what's too much, because too much can be a result of not just the product, but the space that you have to shoot that product in and how you have it laid out. Because there's shows where, sure, going balls to the wall and, making something like a hyper musical is awesome. And it's really cool to hit every ignition point. But I mean, how does it really look? If it looks like it's a convoluted mess and there's a whole bunch of, like poor effect choices, there's been so many times where I've chosen the wrong effects and put them all into low and mid-level spectrums all at the same time, and emphasized or tried to emphasize hitting beats, and all those beats were like, dead nuts on. But then when you look at what's actually going on, it's like, okay, that don't look so good. It's getting that stuff to play together in the spectrums in which the product itself is supposed to play. John, to answer your question originally about, have I ever pumped the brakes beforehand to try to not do something? Really, not really. And I think that's just, that's me, I guess, putting myself out on a table and saying, I am like, my creative mind kind of lives in that moment, and it's only as good as whatever my creative mindset is in that moment. In that moment, whether or not however I'm feeling that music is really what's going to probably be on the field. And more often than I think not, that's been to my detriment, because there's been times where I've had really cool ideas and they wound up being not so cool ideas when I watch the show in retrospect. But, I don't know. I don't think I've ever told myself, I think I'm going to save this because I don't think I can do it. Yeah.
Well, either that or, save it for next year. I'm going to do this next year because I already got this cool thing going. You don't want to bring everything out at one time.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
See, that's now,
this year I did that. This is the first year where I actually pumped the brakes and said, you know what? I'm gonna back out, and I'm not gonna try to just hammer as much as I can and make all these cool designs and everything like that. I just want to get something to flow good, and it will also hopefully the workflow. We won't be out there for 14, 15 hours trying to get this thing to launch, and then it just ends up in a like you said, just a mess in the sky. So I tried to really back off this year and see how well I can make it flow and then build it from there. The other thing I've had to try to learn is, like you all always talk about, layering. And that's something I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to get that layer, the low and the mid. That's been a challenge trying to figure out, obviously 62s are high, mines are low, but the cakes, trying to figure out what cakes is a mid and a mid high and where I'm not going to have overlap. That's still a challenge.
See, that works out good for me because shooting 1-3, I can fire a cake, but also throw a bunch of 2, 3, 4, 5 inch shells.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
well,
your
vertical spectrum completely. Your vertical spectrum completely changes with whatever the largest shell is in your show. It's completely relative, 100% to whatever the largest shell is within the confines of your show. If the largest shell in your show is a 5-inch shell, or that's it. Like that is your high. So what makes up your mid and your mid high and your low. That's all relative to what else you dive in. So it's dynamic and it completely changes. But in the world of 1/4, completely. The 62s traditionally, those are going to be in the high. NOABs are going to be in the high. If you use canister shells, those are probably going to be in your high as well. Any of those, any of your 200 and 500 gram cakes that are lower caliber, an inch to, I don't know, what is it? What's 30 millimeter in inches? I don't know. I've always done it in metric when I make them in finale, but
inch and 3/16.
Inch and 3/16.
A little bit over inch and a quarter.
Yeah. So anything like that is, traditional mid, and maybe mid high, again, depending on the caliber and the number of shots that's in the cake. But, typically your low and your ground level and your low, those could usually get made up by rising effects. Anything that's on its way to a vertical that's above it. And unless you have an effect that you're putting, like a ground fountain or something. If you're taking a fountain or you're taking strobes or you're taking flame pots, those are obviously ground effects that live on the ground. Mm-hmm. But it's like being cognizant of where stuff goes and why you're putting it into that particular vertical spectrum that you're putting it into, and then what else is going off around it is all going to make up the beauty of that particular sight picture. And I found, through a number of years of trying to design shows and trying to put the right product in the right place to perform a certain way, I realized that some of the nastiest shows that I created, and nasty in like the traditional sense of the word, where it was just ugly to look at, were because like I was having overlap, but I was having overlap that wasn't traditionally, it wasn't pleasing to look at. It was just kind of pukey in certain verticals. Stuff was overlapping each other. And with 1/4 anyway, you're almost always going to get garbage, pukey looking stuff. It's not going to be like a beautiful 8-inch shell where it's completely symmetrical and you're going to have like the world's greatest burn times on stars that come out of it. You're going to get something that's kind of oblong. From batch to batch, you're going to get different break times, which is going to dictate what vertical it performs in. Things like that. So it's a matter of paying attention to that and then just giving it its space, I guess, to work in those verticals. Because when you give it its space to work in those verticals, and you understand that the higher caliber stuff is going to perform typically higher in the air and higher in altitude than the other stuff, then you're good to go. Then you can kind of start working around it. Jason, are you in Finale? Are you in Show Creator? Are you in Show Shim? What are you in?
I use Show Creator, Cobra Show Creator. I basically do a lot of visual in my head and then a lot of video watching. So I'll basically pull up a YouTube, video of a product, and then I'll go into Show Creator, start the song, know what beat I'm going to hit it on, and then hit play so I can watch the simulation on YouTube and basically, visualize what I'm going to see out there when that happens. So everything for me is strictly in my head on what it should look like based on the videos.
Like that's all the harder. That is all the more difficult to try to do in trying to visualize that stuff and put it in your head. And, like when you have visual software, to a degree, I think we believe we're in control because we can, look at a video and try to make a simulation that's as close to that video as humanly possible. But at the end of the day, it's only going to be, in the most wild kind of way, as close as that particular product was made, with the care and that it was made with. But, to the people that use Show Creator, that's like that visual element really isn't there. So you're kind of working in your head and understanding where stuff breaks and how it breaks and what other verticals it's going to cover when it does break is totally within the confines of just understanding the products and familiarization. So kudos, man.
Yeah, and I tried this year. The other thing was to try and, because I listen to every podcast and I try to take in what you all say and stuff. And it's like, okay, so this year and many parts of the show, I tried to do where, the rise and lower of the eye level, where, okay, you got a low effect and then it brings the eyes to the next effect, and walk them back down again. I tried to really put a lot of that into thought this year. Whereas years in the past, I just kind of, well, this will look good, so I'll shoot that. And this will look good, so I'll shoot that. And once you get out there and watch it, it's like, well, this all looks like shit. We'll start over.
Yeah, but you learn so much about your fireworks doing it that way too. Like, as much as you've shot this stuff, you should kind of know, like, hey, like fan cakes, 30 millimeter, 25 shots, they live in this kind of height range, or, these effects, they live in this kind of height range, or these brands, have like a higher break or a bigger break kind of thing. Do you keep track of stuff like that?
To a degree, yeah. I'd constantly go back to like, past videos, and it's like, well, okay, well, if I'm going to use this same of, whatever, one of the Mammoth series, and go back into the video and, well, I shot this particular cake, that's let's say a 1-inch bore with that Mammoth. And for whatever reason, that 1-inch diameter cake overlapped with that Mammoth. And even though that's what they classify that as a 2-inch, but, it's not that, but they still intersected, and it was like they shouldn't have. Everything I saw kept that at a low mid, and that should have been at a mid high. But they intersected in the break levels, and then it's like, okay. So I do keep a lot of visual notes on it, but yeah, what you see in videos and what you actually see, you all know that as well as I do. It's not the same.
No, and it's even this year I noticed, John can contest this too, when we were at the RKM demo. Remember when they were shooting the 200 gram section? And we were all like, this is 200s?
Yeah.
Like, holy hell.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, they made the 200s really good this year. And then you couldn't tell when they went from 200 to 500 because you just couldn't tell. The brakes were just as big. The height was just as big. Or like, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like at that point, you sit back and go, well, so how am I supposed to, what conventional says this 200 cake should break at this level? You base your show on that, and they're breaking way higher than that. And it's like, and for me, like I said, I already put so much money into the show. I don't really have the money to go do a whole bunch of, testing out in the yard and see exactly what I'm dealing with. It's that the money's just not there to do the test plus the show. So I have to rely 95% on videos and hope that I can, pick out a tree in the video or something like that and get a general gauge.
Oh,
on
yeah. So,
what I'm
right. So
going
you
to pick
can
up
try to
on.
get a feel for your relativity in a scene.
And even like you said too, that you watch the video of it and you're like, okay, my first pyro musical that I did, I had a bunch of 500 gram cakes in there, and the video showed me what they were doing. Well, one of them in the video, it didn't have whistles in it. Well, when that cake started going, there was 2 sections where it had whistles in it. Luckily, it was right on point with a section of this spot of the song to where everybody loved it. Like, wow, that was perfect. I didn't plan that, but that was perfect. So you never know, like you said, you watch the video, some can be so high up in the air, or they change effects and don't say anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, this year is like I said, trying to do quicker paced songs. What I've learned is a lot harder to try and keep pace with the song, plus engage in those levels and keep everything, to where it gets a good sight picture. So I try to pick faster songs. Like, this year I'm doing Tool Sweet, and where it's fast paced, then it slows down, then it's fast paced, to kind of use that in and out in the music to try and use better effects, softer effects, which generally have a lower break on them. So I can kind of walk those levels. But it's definitely, for the little bit of time that I've been doing pyro musicals, it has been every year I just walk away shaking my head going, man, I don't know if I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
I guess that's one good thing about being a scripted show. Like back in the day, we've always used the SAM basis panel. And it's, each toggle switch is a shell. Well, as the music's going, you start getting hyped up and you're like, dun, 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 just hitting switches like, oh, crap, I got to slow down.
Turn into Delissa, Dog's daughter. Light them all.
I was rolling.
Have you ever thought about getting scripting software?
Like going to 3D Finale or something?
Correct. Yeah.
Anything
visually.
I did when I was at CobraCon. I don't remember 2 years ago. I think it was Bozy that year.
You got the light version of Finale.
Yeah, I got it then because I was in boot camp.
$149.99.
And I got on it and I tried it, but I don't have, my problem is my patience level. So to get in there and create the effects that you then have to utilize in the script, it just, to me, it was designed for the display operator more than the hobbyist, is how I felt when I was trying to use it. It just became
It's easier. Yeah. If you have an inventory already there, it's a lot easier. I'm right there. I don't have patience.
Bo will sell his whole inventory for a whopping $3,000.
Oh, sold. Or $6.99 per effect.
Yeah, what's your
I mean, you can do the basic like I did the first year I had Finale. If I had a 500 gram cake, it was 24 shot, 32 seconds. So I just put in created the VDL, 24 shot, 32 second color peony. I didn't care what it looked like on the sim. I knew in my head what it was going to do out in the field.
Yeah.
AJ said that everybody helps you at Skywars get your VDO library.
You can have it.
What?
He concedes. He'll give AJ that. No, I don't know, dude. And this is it's kind of I don't want to say it's a hot button for me, but I think there's very few manufacturers that have put due process into their time of creating solid effects. And to an extent,
simple time and effort.
Yeah, right. To an extent, I understand the whole, if I tried to keep these up to the standard that you guys quack about on the podcast every single week, then I would have to hire somebody full time to do nothing but sit around and change effects, because the quality coming from the factory changes every single year. And to me, that kind of pulls the cloth over, off the top of a greater root issue. If your product is constantly changing from year to year to year, I understand very much so that is the trope in the industry, and everybody's like, oh, well, that's just the way it is. Well, why is it like that? I can't be the only person that's sitting back going, explain to me why quality control is like that. These manufacturers are working on your behalf. And I'm in the technology sector, and I understand that the technology sector, China wants to make solid product for these larger name companies. But why is it so much different in fireworks? And I get that China's GDP is like, this is a very small percentage going toward, exports of fireworks. So it's just like, hey, you get what you get. But still, to me, I think that's the big question mark.
Yeah.
Get what you get,
Mm-hmm.
but you pay
Exactly.
more.
Exactly. You get what you get, and don't expect us to change the sim when it changes at the factory.
I mean, I couldn't really see it being that, like, a company over there paying someone to build their whole catalog of simulations. And then every year just updating it slightly. You do test, right? I mean, they go over there, they test every product
but I'm just saying,
make, right?
I'm saying, like, even at the really minute stuff, because like we're extremely picky, and I recognize that we are overly picky in that if a product comes over, a product 5 years ago was in a perfect world, absolutely 100% perfect in performance, and we wish it always performed that way. Like it's red letter. Like that's the one that we always wanted. Everybody wanted the 2018 version of whatever slice. And then every year since, it's been total crap. Like they've reconfigured it. They, changed factories 3 times, what have you. But essentially they're selling the same SKU. That's the stuff that I guess I'm really talking about is we're overly picky. I recognize that we're overly picky. And I think the industry looks at us and goes, yeah, these guys are ridiculous. There's no way that we're ever going to be able to meet that standard just because things don't work that way in fireworks, especially in consumer fireworks of any kind. So a quick question for you. Would you pay $10-15 extra a case for something that was more consistent? Personally, I would.
That's kind of like what I was just thinking about is, if as picky as we are, like you're saying, is it going to cost us more to keep that product consistent?
Yeah. Now,
but I would totally pay, like he said, $10-15 more to make sure that every year I get the same thing that I got from the previous year and the previous year before that and the previous year before that. I
also believe that,
it came in, like he said, in the same colors, not, it's red, green, blue, and now it's yellow, green, red.
Well, like, yeah. What? And it's like, you got a slice or you got a cake that was really consistent in break altitude one year, but then the next year, every 5 shots, like every 5 shots that you get in a row that are breaking, there's like a 50 to 70 foot delta between every single break, and it just looks like grandma's teeth in the way that it's firing. And the same thing with single shots, just single shots, to me, I feel like those should be performing to a certain standard. And when you get an entire year's worth of single shots, you buy 5 or 6 cases worth of a single shot and you put them all from one end of the field to the other and you shoot the whole thing in a line and they don't even come close across the field. And it literally looks like a broken face piano from one end of the field to the other. Like, to me, it's crazy. But again, we're picky, and people are going to listen to this and go, well, you guys are fucking crazy too. Like, there's no way it's ever going to get to that. But yeah, I think that in a perfect world, I would absolutely pay more money to have access to something that's like that. But that brings up another problem too. With how relationship driven and how the minute that somebody speaks out against rising prices in the fireworks industry online, it seems to spread like wildfire. So I can almost imagine that would be like a double-edged sword. You produce super, super quality product and you sell it and it's the best product ever. And then people were like, well, I'm never going to buy that. That's like that's $10 to $15 more expensive than I've ever paid for it. Why would I pay that? The answer to that is it's quality product. It's good stuff.
My issue is always timing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just everything that you look at is like, I've got products where on the cake it says it's 20 seconds, duration. And then I pull up videos of it, and every video I pull up is no less than 25. Most of them are 30. And these are 1.4 Pro. And it's like, how is there a 10-second differential from what they're telling me that the duration of this cake is than what all the videos are showing? I thought that was the purpose of Pro, was to have a more precise time. I know once you get over 15 seconds, it does fluctuate some, but not 10 seconds. Yeah. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, we've had worse than that when something's supposed to last, 12 to 15 seconds and it lasts a minute and 15 seconds. You're like, wow.
And then Jimmy spends his Saturday ridiculing me because it's like, well, hey, you were supposed to short fuse this, and this, and you failed at 75% of that job.
I wasn't talking about you.
I was talking about me because I had that job.
Jimmy's show.
Somehow I got,
and it worked out though.
It did work out. It was nice.
Yeah, it almost all three of them ended like perfectly when they weren't supposed to, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah,
perfectly.
I know,
like
but
it was timed.
that kind of goes against the grain of what, just kind of like what Jason was saying with Proline. Proline was created to really like negate some of those goofy things that, they didn't want us doing with fireworks. They didn't want us dissecting stuff, and they didn't want consumers and pro users pulling stuff apart because it's unsafe. And if you take the more improved, safe stuff and create a lesser quality product, then you're kind of right back there, because you've essentially given the entire industry a taste for greatness because you had 1 year where it was fucking phenomenal. And then every year since, you've not even been able to get close to that kind of quality. I mean, that sucks because everybody is always trying to make their shows better. I think we're all guilty of, we shoot a show and then we're like, that's awesome. I want to go out there next year and I want to top myself. I want to do better. And we're even guilty about doing that, like pitting ourselves against our peers and saying, oh man, I want to be the best there is. And to be the best there is, like, you always want to try to have like a competitive edge with the product that you use, and, get a hold of like the world's greatest stuff that comes out of China. It comes out of 5 factories in China. But yeah, I don't know.
It's hard when you're in, pyro musicals where everything is about precision. You're trying to, whatever, go through a music, and you got this 20-second clip that you're trying to hit certain things inside this 20-second window. And you can utilize this cake, but, there again, it's a pro cake. And it's not what they are advertising it to be. And it's like, if you're just doing a shell show, okay, whatever. You can kind of step it up or, go ahead and accelerate something because it went faster than what it was supposed to. But in a pyro musical, I mean, at that point, you're kind of bound to whatever it is. And if it runs over, well, I guess you're going to get some added effects into the next line.
Like finale goes over and there's just a cake still going off, and just like people are like, it's not over.
Yep.
You're like,
been there,
over,
done
guys.
that.
Sorry.
No music, and I got this one cake just single shooting for about 12 seconds, and I'm like, well,
at least it was a breaking effect,
bonus.
not just some comments like floating back and forth. You're like,
oh, dude, the most embarrassing one for me was I think it was NFA in 2015. The Camstar Pyro Musical competition. Awesome show, kick-ass finale. And then right at the very end, we had Ben in the club had, redone all these Saturn missiles. But like he pulled the bottom off and like we laced the bottom with black powder. It's such a cool effect, man. Like the whole Saturn missile battery, the annoying ass Saturn missile battery that just goes one at a time. They all went up at once and created this really cool effect. But there was just like, law of averages are not in your favor in an instance like that, where, sure as shit, there's going to be maybe one that doesn't quite do that. And that's exactly what happened. Was finale ended, everything ended, and then all of a sudden you hear pew, 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 pew. Like, oh, yuck.
Stop, please, stop, please, stop.
Oh, man.
45 seconds later.
And it's bad. Yeah, right. And it's bad when the announcer that's, trying to like tell the crowd, oh, yeah, we're just going to wait a few minutes for that really annoying. Yeah, wait, because I can't even speak without being interrupted by the Saturn missile battery. Do you guys ever have any embarrassing finales? Take that how you will, I guess.
Whoa, what are we talking about?
Never end.
John, I know you did. Your missus seems hard to please.
I was just gonna say, don't talk to my wife.
Wow.
John's like, stop talking about it.
Don't even go there, buddy.
I had the same
no
effect
idea.
happen that you were talking about with the missile battery, but the I think Dominator had the Thunder Kings, and
oh yeah,
I had it set up, and somehow this one they all went. I think I had 4 going off for a finale, but this one cake just decided that it was going to lag, and it was probably 20-25 seconds after the show was over. One shot at a time, boom, shot. Boom. I'm like, well, fuck. All right. Bonus show. Like, okay.
Fine. We'll do this.
Yeah. Just one cake, single shot at a time. Like, okay. Everybody's
Fine,
cheering and clapping. Like, man, that's great. While this one cake is steadily just single shooting.
And you're holding your stopwatch. Like, all right, well, I will. Okay. Now I will start that 15-minute cooldown clock again.
Yeah, I'm looking down at the remote going,
and again.
Yep, that countdown clock is not ticking. There shouldn't be shit going off, but okay, well, I guess we do.
My first electrical fired show was my worst finale because I used, what are the talons?
Oh,
never
God.
used it. Just used the talons. And a bunch of the cakes in the finale went off. This was in Texas where I had all that room. So I had like a 200-foot frontage of just massive cakes just going off like crazy. And you could tell like there were spots where stuff wasn't going off. And I'm like, what the hell? Well, then when it got to the good part where I was supposed to light the 2 50-shot racks and all the extra stuff in there, nothing went. And in the video, when it stopped, you can hear me running, going, someone grab me a torch. And I'm out there with a lighter while someone's trying to find me a torch, trying to light the fuse on these racks and stuff with like a lighter with the wind blowing.
Right there. Yeah.
So it was like a 12 times finale.
Oh God.
That happened.
That worse.
That happened
Hopefully,
a few years ago. We've always chained our finales. Start with one match and it'll run every chain. We tie every chain together. We usually put in about 10 jumpers, just, restarts. Well, one year, for some ungodly reason, every single chain broke.
Oh my God.
So I hit the button, the first chain went off, then it stopped. Hit this next match, one chain went off, stopped. Hit the next match, one chain, like, son of a bitch.
Wow.
Grab the torch. I have no clue. It's every single chain broke. I don't know if it was something, there was nothing inside the buckets.
Where did you store those? The sauna?
No. Yeah. So lighting that finale was interesting and long. But
He said it's interesting and long. Yikes.
But
what about you, Jamie?
I just wing it.
I just wing it.
That's what I figured.
I knew where that was going.
That's what I
Sooner or
figured.
later in here.
That's what I figured.
It's not
Wait, what are we
usually
talking
my
about?
finale. It's some other random cake that just decides to do it at once.
Yeah.
I think the
I
only
try
other
to-
year I had something, well, besides the comic
control
cake I was
the
talking about
finale.
earlier, was someone plugged in the wrong cue is actually what it was on one of the cakes, and I had
It
fast
wasn't me.
fused the shots. No, this is not Melissa. So I had taken the shots in the back and put fast fuse in them, so I went as fast as I could, and in the front, I slowed down the shots. Well, they flip-flopped the two cues, so it went really fast during the song, but at the very end, it was like, doom. And I'm like, oh no, I know what that is. 15 seconds later of like this tiny little cake going off. You're like, really? Motherfucker. It was going so good till then.
Jeez. Yikes, man.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
It was going so good until it started.
I was so excited. And then you showed me.
I'll tell you what's been a challenge is this year I got, I've actually had a lot of calls this year for doing shell shows, not pyro musicals, which, believe it or not, you go from where everything in your brain is just around pyro musical, and then somebody says, well, I don't want any music, I just want a standard shell show. That spun me for a loop where I'm looking at it going, fuck, I don't know how to do a shell show. All I've done is pyro musicals. And
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Have you ever thought about doing like a body show with your like cakes and stuff, just shooting cakes and, mixing them together and doing your kind of thing. And then just having a 3-minute pyro musical at the end.
That's been talked
That way
about.
you could utilize more cues to have more fun in 3 minutes.
Yeah, and that's been talked about, maybe next year, because there's a chance that like the River Show, this will be the last year. And I've told everybody that it's just, I've got a daughter in college and I just need to focus my funds on other areas. And I told him, I said, unless somebody's going to come into the picture and, basically kick out a lot of money for this.
Yeah.
I just can't keep affording to do this, 4 years straight of $7,000+ for each show.
Yeah, man.
It's just, it's become too much. So that did get brought up. Well, what if we just do a standard show and then, maybe a 3 or 5 minute pyro musical at the end? But I don't know. I just look at that and go, 5-minute pyro musical? That's going to suck.
Yeah. I mean, in
Just do
reality,
4x8s.
you're still gonna it still costs money though. So, and that's the part that just blows is fundraising for fireworks shows, especially neighborhood fireworks shows.
Yeah, and it's
not fun.
like for me, doing that River Show, like I said, last year it did kind of get to me a little bit because the people across the river, they'll watch obviously. But last year after the show, there was like a 30-car caravan that left from the other side of the river where I guess they were calling friends and everything from the years past. Like, man, every year come down and watch the show. And nobody even offered to help chip in or anything. It's like, part of me sits back and says, well,
sucks.
I mean, it's not their responsibility or, it's not a show for them. So, I mean, if I'm sitting across the river, it's like, you're going to do this show. I mean, shit, I'm going to sit there and watch. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, you feel
I
like.
guess it just depends on the people too. Because if you saw something like that, you'd be like, man, here's 20, 30, 40, 50
Yeah,
bucks.
exactly.
You just put on a hell of a fucking show for me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And I, there
Unfortunately,
was.
the world doesn't think
I
that way
think
anymore.
Bo said it a bunch of times. It's like, you pass the hat around, everyone's like, nope. It's like, really?
Yeah,
Come on,
exactly.
man.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we had one lady that she came across on her kayak and she took up a little donation of the lots right there around her. So they chipped in, but it's like, she was like, well, this is our first year of getting these river lots. So we didn't know you did this. And it's like, so you chipped in money and had no idea this was coming, but yet everybody else across there has seen it for the last 3 years and have never offered a dime.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, man,
I think there's probably it's got to be 200-300 people minimum on one side of the lake at your show, Bo?
I mean, there's a lot. Like I call it.
I mean, one side. I mean, like 35, your grandma's side.
Call it 35 houses around the private lake, right? And that's counting. That's just bordering the lake itself. That's not counting the houses on the roads that surround the lake immediately. But it's still odd, right? That so many years you do that stuff and these people enjoy it as a tradition, and all it takes is like the 1 year that it doesn't happen. And then they're like, well, what the hell? Well, I'll tell you what the hell. I'm
broke.
Like, this is expensive. This is expensive and people have to pay for this. And that's not cheap, and it's not something that we actively go around because it's like, it's a lot of effort to go around and pass the bucket. I mean, that's a full couple days worth of work going around and talking to people and raising funds, and even more than that, to be quite honest. And you're damned if you do, and you're kind of damned if you don't. And you're damned if you don't because you don't have the funds, and you're damned if you do because then it's just more work. So it's really nice that the backyard shows in the traditional backyard sense, the people that pass the bucket around, the person that's really always been the hero in my eyes, sure, the person that shoots the show, great, awesome. But the person that goes out of their way to manage and, help with the fundraising, like, kudos and God bless that person, because that's kind of the person that's bridged the gap between the general public and, just the residents of any one particular private backyard show and, the product and what you see in the show.
Yeah, it just takes a burden off your shoulders to have to try to do everything.
Well, and I kind of feel bad because it's like, well, none of them asked me to do it, the family and stuff, and they were all fine with just shooting, old school, grab a lighter and, put off some cakes or something like that. It was kind of hinged on my idea to get everybody together and have a really good shows. And then I'm going to run around and go, hey, I decided to do this. And by the way, can you give me money too? It's kind of, I don't know. Just feel kind of
you didn't
shitty
start
for that.
off as big in your first year, right?
No,
your first year wasn't $9,000.
No. First year, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 at best.
Yeah. That's what I mean. And as it grows, people have to notice that that's where I guess it was more like, oh man, you're really putting some, here you go. Thanks for the effort.
Yeah.
Because a 500 gram cake at the retail store costs about $100. So here's $100 because it gave me way more than that 500 gram cake would have.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. You just kind of feel like people would, like you said, would just naturally say, hey, let me help out. So you think, human nature or whatever you want to call it. But I guess that's not as prevalent nowadays.
And it's, and that's not to say that there's not folks that do, because there's absolutely, the few and the proud, the people that step forward and either try to help you, raise funds for the private backyard show, or they themselves contribute wholeheartedly to the backyard show. But just unfortunately, I think it's just humanity in general that just isn't that way. They show up, it's like, oh, you mean I can see something cool for free? Awesome.
Yep, exactly. And I don't have to pay for this? Yeah. Shit, I'm all in.
Right, exactly. If we go over there and tell that person next to the grill that we just love it here at Aunt Liza's house, then we can have a hot dog for free, a burger.
Every year in Atalissa, it's always, you can go through the list and it's the same people every year. Maybe get 1 or 2 here and there, someone after the show that'll come up. But it's literally the same people every year.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was making a joke to, I think it was last year. I was like, we're going to put like blockers around the area. And if like your name's on the list because you donated, you can come here and sit. If not, you got to sit behind the houses on the other road and you get to see the stuff in the air and that's it.
Hey, let me see your wristband.
Yeah, exactly. It's VIP. This is, you didn't donate $1.
That's a great idea.
But tell you, like,
I don't know if you know this. That's Jamie. You can't talk to Jamie unless you have a bright green wristband.
Well, you shifting gears a little bit, but talking about unique shoot sites. Remember the unique site I was telling you about last year at Sky Wars, Bozy?
Oh God. Refresh me and refresh the 10 listeners that are listening to this podcast.
The nudist colony.
10 listeners.
Yes. Yeah, I do remember this.
Oh my God. I remember you telling me about that, Bo.
Yeah. Well, they contacted me late this year, so I couldn't do it because it's the same day as the River Show, but they were like, go ahead and put us in. And so, that show at the nudist colony is probably definitely going to happen next year. And I went by there. I had to do a site, walk by the site and see where you talking about shooting and everything like that. So I walked by and they're like, well, you understand what's here? And I'm like, yeah, I understand. As long as they're comfortable with me wearing clothes.
What's not here.
Yeah.
Clothes.
Yeah.
And they might want to wear some just in case, sometimes there's fallout.
Yeah. My thing was, I was like, you know what? I really don't care if y'all don't want to wear clothes, don't wear clothes. But if I'm bending down to set up a rack and old Mr. Winky is swinging in my face, I'm not going to be fucking happy.
There's limits, okay?
Yeah. I was like, that was definitely a unique going over there. They're like, okay, well, we're going to walk over here, but we're just understand what you're about to see.
Just give every member of your team a rape whistle. Actually, rape is probably a strong word. Maybe an awareness whistle.
Yeah. The wife was like, well, can I come help set up? And I'm like, hell no.
There's a naked entering our shoot site. There's a naked entering the fallout.
That hammer just swinging. I go home, honey. You got to go home.
I'm not even mad.
I was like, this is not going to go over well. Somebody's liable to embarrass me here or make me feel, small. And it's like, golly day, he's packing more mortars than I am.
Oh God! Just for the sake of perspective, all nakeds need to stay away at least 200 feet. Everything looks small at 200 feet.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be interesting to say the least. It's like
I can't imagine what is so like that must be awesome when that shows up on the company banking statement.
Well, luckily
I swear it's a real show.
Luckily, they have a neutral name. The name isn't anything
discreet
it's definitely 100% discreet in the name. So it's a country club. It's a community. Not to get said, but
so
they contacted me.
Vertical Smiles Getaway.
No, it's not. Smile at Mr. Winky or anything like that.
One-eyed Wonder Camp.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's me attending the helicopter show.
Yeah, there's the retreat at the old purple-headed yogurt slinger.
What?
You ever seen Friday Night Lights? Or not? No, it's Varsity Blues. Right?
He's clearly got a blood flow
Varsity
issue.
Blues.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But
that's definitely going to happen. It looks like.
Well, good for you. Congratulations.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Literally, we'll see.
Oh, man.
There you go.
Jason.
From the shoot site, as soon as you're lighting up during the finale, just take a snapshot of the whole crowd. All these people that came into my show.
All arm in arm, swaying back and forth, just flapping in the breeze.
So do you expect that shoot to take longer to set up?
No, that will probably be the fastest setup I ever do.
He's going to be distracted the entire day. Dude, would you stop touching it?
Why is everything matched wrong?
Look down. Look down.
Oh my God, something just touched my leg.
On a cold day. Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day.
Yeah, no, that's
your flashlight?
Your flashlight.
And do not tell me you're just happy to see me either. I don't want to hear that shit either.
Oh my God.
Oh, what a superb rack alignment you have here.
Yeah.
I know my shirt says, I'm just here to bang, but I'm not.
Oh my God.
Perfect shirt to wear for that.
Well, Jason, John, thank you both for making the first Rhythm Pyro podcast shit show roundtable memorable.
It was a shit show.
It was a shit show.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
It was what we said it was going to be. we hope.
All over the place.
That's right.
Make sure you do lots of fireballs at the shoot site that year, next year. They can really feel them.
We've had a notable drop in attendance over the last few years, especially on the 4th of July.
Who wants a 10?
A notable drop in attendance and a notable increase in second-degree burns.
It's what you get for not wearing clothes.
Yeah.
It's so much more sensitive down there. I can't figure it out.
Stop talking about it.
Stop talking about it.
Stop talking about it.
Stop talking about it.
I don't think that's a great segue, Jason. Well done. I don't think we could have